T minus 2 minutes. T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
That was a double countdown at the end there. Everybody, welcome back to Watch the Obsession live stream and chat. I am so glad you guys are here. Can you guys hear me? I don't see myself like pulsating on the screen. Oh, now I am. There we go. I guess you only pulsate when you're like right smack dab in the center and kind of big, not really compared to the whole screen, but it's compared to like when you're at the side. Okay, guys. So tonight we are going to be talking about elements having to do with the Chris Watts case. And specifically, this is a topic I have talked about in the past. And listen, the more you look into this case and what really went on, when you get different perspectives, when you start to look into the information that has been put out there, really dive into it and are able to find the resources and the ways to excavate the actual truth, because the blanket narrative in this case is, there are elements certainly of it that are true. Yes, a family tragically died. Yes, the father was involved and the bastard should totally be spending his life in prison. Those things are true. But many of the details, as many of you know, are simply not true. They're not accurate or they are not complete. So what I've done is, and it's taken me a really long time because I want to be complete, and what I present to you before I present it to you is I have rewritten the timeline, the parts of it that are wrong. Some of the parts, of course, yes, are correct. Records of Shanann and Chris talking at certain times. Although I don't understand why they did add certain conversations and didn't add others that seem material, but there could be a lot of reasons for that. So tonight we are going to be talking about the real timeline of events. What I like to focus on is specifically around the hours of the crime, like the 24 hours and the 24 hours after. I think those are the most, 48 and 48. I think those are the most critical parts of the timeline that have not been truthfully told to the public. But going back all the way to the beginning of when the timeline starts, which as many of you know, because I talk about it all the time, it's with one singular event entry, which is Nicole Kessinger's search of Shanann Watts on September 1st, 2017. Now, it's interesting that 1 month before Nicole Kessinger's search for Shanann in 2017, we know, due to her computer records, that she searched for the name Chris Watts. But that is not the event that starts the official discovery timeline. The event that starts the official discovery timeline is her 2017 search of Shanann Watts, which is bizarre enough on its own. But then when you consider that there was a search for Chris Watts, who she should not have known by all accounts, 1 month previous to that, it becomes even more curious. So we're just going to watch a little bit together here, and there is a whole lot to discuss. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Thank you so much, moderators. Welcome, subscribers, members, people who are new to the channel. I'm so glad you're here and guilty of crime. I hope that you're still in chat. I would love for you to come up tonight, if you're willing to. And I'm so sorry. I was going to have her come up yesterday. The whole world should know. And I had to move the live stream to today because I was having I couldn't even access anything on my computer. My computer guy spent 3 hours over here today fixing it all. We're good. But I failed to notify her of that. And that's really super rude. And I'm so sorry. So I would love for you to come up today, and everyone should go check out her channel. I think she's a relatively new true crime channel, and I just love her personality. She's got great energy, and hopefully she'll come up to talk with us this evening.
The decision was made about 4 days ago.
The decision to take the death penalty off the table in exchange for Christopher Watts' guilty plea to all 9 counts he was originally charged with, including first-degree murder of a child under 12, tampering with a deceased body, and unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
The Watts family murders. This is undoubtedly one of the most horrific crime stories of our era. Over 5 years has passed, and with each passing year, with each passing day, nothing about this case becomes more clear. Looking back on the investigation of this case and the prosecution of Chris Watts, you have to ask yourself, was anything ever meant to be clear? Was justice ever meant to be achieved?
Oh, good girl. Oh, I love it. Good job. High five, baby.
I won't stay with her. Don't take her away.
By the time you are done watching this video, you're going to understand that something very wrong happened in the initial hasty, but we're not actually watching this video. I just want to play a little bit here, but you get it. Investigation of this case, a case so horrific, the whole world began watching right away because the whole world wanted to know, how could a seemingly loving father do something so horrible? The very family members who trusted him, who counted on him, who relied on him, who loved him, and never questioned his love for them or his commitment to their family. Chris Watts took the lives of his wife, who was 15 weeks pregnant, his 4-year-old daughter, Bella Watts, his 3-year-old daughter, Cece Watts.
So I'm here with my little munchkins.
And the unborn baby that was going to be his very first son, baby Nico Watts. This crime is so horrible, people either refuse to even learn about it, and once they turn their heads and their attention to the story of this crime, they seem to not be able to turn away. I dare to say it's impossible to overestimate the strength of feelings, of passion, of opinions that people have about this case. Many of us feel a unique and peculiar bond to this case, to the family, to the Watts family, because we can relate to them. With this true crime case more than any other, we've heard more people say that they feel a strong connection to the victims, to the family, and to the victims' family members. Okay, and it should be said, and welcome to everybody who's coming in, and welcome to everybody who's new to this channel. In chat, it is a rule of this channel that we should be respectful to the victims' family members who are out there. You know, it's not even up for discussion tonight, but I know that people are very polarized in the way that they think about the Ruchek family or the Watts family, and I personally have great compassion for both families. They've both been through something terrible, and to judge how they react to this or that, I can't even imagine being in their shoes. We all know that when we're under stress or something really crazy has happened, we might not act like ourselves, or maybe we do. Who knows? But what they do is really not up for judgment for anybody, because what they are experiencing is so unlike what I hope any of us can experience. Meaning, I hope that none of you ever experienced anything as horrible as they did. So please, please, please be respectful to the victims' family members. They are mentioned a few times in this video in the context of the timeline, and that is just, really important. Okay. Skipping forward a little bit here. And welcome to everybody who's coming in. Everybody come on in, get comfortable. Sis Fish, I hope you're vicious. I hope you're having some relaxation time, if you can hear me. And yeah, and again, thank you moderators for being here. You guys are great. In the most recent video that I put out, it premiered the other night. I know a lot of you were there and a lot of you have watched it. Let's see. Well, let me just go back to this part. I'm not going to play it, but let me just get a visual to put up while I'm talking about it. There's Chris Watts' work truck. Yeah, it's not a great picture. Well, okay. So there's the evidence items that were refused by Colorado Bureau of Investigation in Chris Watts' work truck to be analyzed after the investigators went through the work of collecting them properly, storing them properly, whatever it is that they had to do to make them ready for analysis. CBS like, nah, it's cool. We're not going to do that though. No, thanks. Yeah, we know that he drove to 3319 from his house, and he had either deceased or living victims in the truck with him. But work truck, nope, we don't need to analyze that. We're good. 3 weeks after the tragedy. Nope, we're good on that. Something that I added to this story about his work truck innards, the evidence that was collected not being analyzed, that I hadn't put together. I don't know why. It's clearly the same topic, but guys, this discovery, as you know, is like 2,000 pages. It's huge. Things are still clicking years later, which is crazy, but I know I'm not the only one. That, the dogs, the search dogs, and I'm specifically not giving them a name because you all argue about it. So I'm just going to say the dogs. Well, Jane's dog, Cody, hit outside the work truck, meaning that she said, and it's in this video if you want to see in greater detail from the discovery, but I know a lot of you watched this, so I want to go back over what y'all watched, that the dog indicated outside of the work truck, and it's in 2 reports in the discovery, but the dog never went inside the work truck. So why, if the dog is indicating, and they're actually paying attention to it, because we know that they didn't pay attention to all of that poor Cody's indicators, even though Cody's doing his job, he's all excited. He's like, Mama Jane, look, I did it. And she's like, that's all right. I want to gossip with with Catherine Lyons here. So we're not investigating. We're just talking. Jane, we love you, but come on now. Why would you not then have the dog go inside of the work truck? The dog freaking hit outside the work truck. Put the dog in the truck. Well, I don't know. The work truck is property of Anadarko. That would require us to get a warrant. Oh wait, we are the people who obtain warrants. That's cool. We can do that really easy, really quick. I mean, seriously, guys, it's disgusting. It's unbelievable. It's not excusable by any means. Not excusable. All right, moving on from the work truck. I will never move on from the work truck, but for right now, we're going to move on from the work truck. For example, from Shanann. Gotta go back a couple seconds. Occurred, and Chris Watts did not plea until November. I'm just going to start here because I'm not going to hit it spot on because I didn't put a marker to hit it spot on. So what were they doing? Refusing any kind of evidence related to this horrible, tragic crime. Oh, I just made myself a liar there. We're referencing the work truck again. Oops. Especially having to do with Chris Watts' work truck. What are they hiding? It's funny how at certain benchmark times after this horrible crime was committed, certain things went missing. For example, from Shanann Watts' Facebook page, certain things were no longer able to be located a short time after this tragedy, and then additional things as time went on. things are not able to be located through even the most thorough of web searches when you try to find information out in a general information search on the internet. It's really strange. It seems that some things, including Chris Watt's mistress herself, when completely and fully missing, poof, vanished from the face of the earth. These are some of the posts from Shanann Watts to her Facebook page that were made on August 12, 2018 that you cannot find now. They went missing very shortly after this tragedy happened. Ready to get home to Chris and the girls, she wrote around 3 p.m. on August 12th, the day before the murders, while she was in Arizona on her Thrive trip. And then at 5:20 p.m., she wrote, same day, August 12th, felt the baby move twice this weekend.
Okay.
Now, this is really weird because why would things like Shanann Watts post on any day, they're just talking about, I'm so excited to get home to see my family, felt the baby move. Like, why in the world would something like that be removed to made intentionally unavailable for people to see? First, Guilty of Crime just became a new member, and thank you so much and welcome. And I'm going to have you up pretty soon after I go over this basic information. Muck Boys has been a member for 3 months, and we love Muck Boys, who says Happy Mother's Day, Kelly, and all other moms. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. You are wonderful if you're a mama. And happy Mother's Day. I hope you're all taking good care of yourselves. And Sherry, thank you so much for the $20 super sticker. I really appreciate it. And as always, I'm so glad you're here. You are very important to the channel. Thank you, darling. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So thank you guys. I appreciate all of you. And welcome to those of you who are coming in. So why would they make something like that not available for people to be seen? It's such a simple thing. Hey, I'm so glad that my kids I'm going to be able to see my kids and my husband soon. Just felt the baby kick. Well, we have to look at the date that, these particular posts were posted. Now there's a lot more that's gone missing, but we're just going to focus on this for now. Let me get to a better picture of this. Well, I guess it doesn't matter as long as it has the date. We have to get some water. Okay. So August 12th, 2:59 p.m. and August 12th, 2 hours and 21 minutes later at 5:20 p.m. respectively. Well, the day of the tragedy was August 13th. That was a Monday, 2018. August 12th, then, obviously, is a Sunday, the day before the tragedies. This is also the day in the Discovery timeline, when you look at it, where you're like, holy shit, where's the Skanky Empanada? She's gone. Where'd she go? I'm sure it's really sad for somebody to not see her listed in the events of the day in the Discovery timeline. All of a sudden on the 12th, Nicole Kessinger's not there anymore. Well, funny, because her affair boyfriend's family members are murdered, if not that night, because we don't know about the girls, or one of the girls at least, but definitely in the next few early morning hours of the following day. And this really, on the timeline and the information that we know, and then the information that I have made it a point to learn, some of it is, well, I'm not going to get there yet because we're going through the whole thing. In comparison to what is actually on the timeline and what has been told, is absolutely jaw-dropping, no joke, shocking. All right, I'm going to continue playing this for just a little bit. I wonder why these posts were scrubbed from the internet shortly after this tragedy happened. They've been removed from the history books. I'm sure whoever removed them, and for the reason they were removed, they certainly hoped that nobody was going to continue to look into these issues, to try to find the things that were hidden by, well, who hid them anyway? When we do the research, the comparisons over time, we can see what items went missing, when, and not always where, but we can start to put all those pieces back together. I personally believe it's relatively clear why specific things went missing at certain times since the morning of August 13th, 2018. I'll tell you one thing, things start to look very interesting when you closely examine what exists, What has been hidden? And what has been altered? What has been destroyed? You may or may not know that on page 283 of the redacted discovery, there is an evidence collection log that records the collection of the interview of Nicole Kessinger from, remember, this horrible tragedy that took the lives of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and unborn baby Nico happened on Monday, August 13th. So this is 2 days after. Nicole Kessinger had just given her first interview to the FBI on that day, on the 15th, in a park near her house with her doggie and her daddy both present. On this document, it states under the details, recorded interview of Nicole Kessinger, parentheses, and in all capital letters, protect identity, end parentheses, on August 15th, 2018. Now, I know that for some of you, especially people that are, with this channel regularly, because we pointed this out that hadn't been really, I hadn't heard it been made a point of to this point. I don't know how long ago it was. But for a lot of people, when they watch videos where I include this information, they're like, what? Oh my God, what? So just to clarify, yes, this document in the discovery was authored on the 15th of August, 2 days after the murders, okay? We know that it was on the 15th of August, 2 days after the murders, when Nicole Kessinger talked to law enforcement for the first time, and that was the FBI, the first official interview at least. Again, as I said, in a park near her house, she had her dog with her, she had her dad with her, very comfortable, crappy audio, not professional, no bueno. Hey, FBI, what's up? So, now until that time, when she actually went in and talked to law enforcement, there was a surveillance on her that started that morning when around 5:30 a.m., Tony Husky, who is the supervisor of some department, I can't remember specifically what it is, at Anadarko, informed law enforcement, and this was several hours before Chris Watts' polygraph exam was scheduled to start, that he had found some email records that indicated, you might want to look at this. It looks to me as though Chris Watts was having an affair with an employee. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. Oh gosh, there's so many interesting things. I feel like I can never move forward because of all of the damn interesting things. Okay, wait, just 1 minute. I'm a bad multitasker. Let me click find here in my discovery file. Husky. And welcome to everyone who's coming in. Please come on in. So glad you guys are here. We have lots of really great stuff to talk about tonight. Well, not really. Well, it's not great. Well, I mean, it's great as far as uncovering new information. This tragedy obviously is super not great. But I think it's great when we are moving towards the possibility of finding complete justice for this case, because as y'all know, I am convinced, I know that it's not there. I know many of you feel the same way. And if you don't, it's okay. But thank you for listening anyway. I just lost my search window. Please excuse my computer greenness. I'm really not like a great with computers person. Although sometimes I pulled off creating a YouTube channel. It's kind of like a miracle, but so you're gonna just have to excuse me for a minute. All right, I want to find the specific email from him. My gosh. I had that terrible sinus infection like a week ago. I don't know. I told some of you guys I was sick. I was on YouTube for like a week. And my voice is like, I don't know. It's just lingering. That's what it's doing. It's lingering. Wait a minute. Are the emails in the discovery her emails? They're not. Hold it. Let me return to this in a minute. I'm going to keep playing this for a moment while I find those. Okay. We're going to talk more about that. For being a protected witness. So listen, I believe that Chris Watts is completely guilty and he deserves to be in prison for the rest of his life. The rotten bastard, taking the lives of these beautiful people, his family members. There aren't even words, and nobody can comprehend what happened. I'm going to just start to refer to that as the rotten bastard disclaimer. What I have come to believe more and more as time passes is that his mistress, Nicole Kessinger, is somehow involved in this tragedy. And we already know, Kessinger, that she committed crimes in the investigation of this case straight away. She admits it herself.
So I removed it.
So you you already said, but you removed text messages.
I deleted all of his stuff.
Yet investigators played softball with her, underhand pitches, every single question they asked for the entire duration of the interviews, for the entire duration of the 5 interviews she underwent with the FBI and Colorado's CBI. What exists in discovery, combined with what we learned about Kessinger's actions and behaviors in the days following the tragedy and what she was trying to hide while she was being interviewed by law enforcement, when we compare what is known to be true and the stories that she clearly made up when she was being interviewed, shows us that she is likely somehow involved in this horrible, horrible tragedy. And what does not appear in discovery may indicate her guilt even more so than what is in that discovery document within the 1,960 pages. So here's what's real funny about the discovery. There are a lot of important events missing from the date August 12th, 2018. That is the day before Shanann Bella. Wait a minute. What's going on with the volume? Is it variable for you guys? Hold it. Just a minute. I'm going to do a couple things. We're doing a sound check right now. Everybody pause for a sound check. Well, I guess we're not going to be able to tell if it's still variable because, that'll vary over time. But does it sound better now? Hey, Legendary CEO, welcome. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, buddy. How are you doing? Hi, Plant Enchantress. How are you been doing? Put a 1 in chat. Let's see. McJ says, put a 1 in chat if you... Gotta make it bigger. Put a 1 in chat if you are having trouble with the audio. So put a 1 in chat if you're having trouble with the audio. I just want to get this figured out before we continue. Hey, Crime and Crochet. How are you doing? I know. It's such a great thing that, particularly, of course, for the families. And for the families above all. But it's great that the world has all these precious memories and photos of these beautiful children and Shanann since they're no longer here. Okay, so Betty's having a little trouble with the volume. Are you okay right now? Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Well, if you do have problems, just let me know and I will be sure to fix it. Celeste and unborn baby Nico were murdered in the wee early morning hours of Monday, August 13th. It is a critical day, and there are so many critical details that are missing, from Shanann Watts' deleted post to Nicole Kessinger's conversations with other people besides. Okay, let's not move on from that yet. Okay, we're going to stop there so I can show you now the emails between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger that Tony Husky found as the something or other supervisor from Anadarko. Now, as far as we know, and I'm pretty sure that this is the case based on some connections beyond just the public narrative that I have, that these are the only recovered emails on the work email between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger. So I feel very confident to believe that that is the case. So let's go ahead and look at them. And now the question is going to be, would Tony Husky, the something or other supervisor, have an understanding that there was an affair between Chris Watts and Nicole Kessinger based on these emails? And it's an important question. So take it seriously. Get your thinking caps on. I'm just kidding. But I would like to see what you guys have to say about this. But it is an important question too. I guess I'm not kidding. Okay, and this is from True Crime Rocket Science, another channel I certainly recommend. This guy, way back in the day, way before I even had a YouTube channel, had already written several books about this crime. People have varying opinions of him. I don't know why. He has done a really super thorough job in what he's investigated in this case, and he is a strict no bullshit kind of person. You are not going to get fluff on his channel. So I would totally suggest checking him out if you're into this case. He's great. He's a deep thinker. And if you don't like that, well, I don't know what to tell you. I guess there's a time and a place. Okay, so the first email, and it is dated June 12th, 2018. All of these emails are dated June 12th, 2018, which on its own is so important as we look at the actual timeline, the amended timeline, the rewritten timeline that I've created for y'all. And I don't know how I'm going to link it, but I'm going to put it out there. So if you want, you can just, copy and paste or cut from the law enforcement timeline, what they provided you, copy my timeline, paste it into that discovery, and then you're going to know a lot more than you do now. Trust me. Anyway, it says, gentlemen, I spoke with my gas monitor vendor regarding your app access. Our account has been reset. Please continue to use the same credentials you were provided upon receiving your unit. Let me know if you continue to have issues or require anything further. Best regards, Nikki Kessinger, SHE representative, Dirty and Pinata, Anadarko Petroleum Corporation, and her skanky phone number. So an interesting question would be for like Luke Epple and excuse me, Tony Husky and all the rest. Did you ever receive an email from Nicole Kessinger as a group of, field technicians as about the status of your work equipment? Yes or no? It would be really interesting to know the answer to that. And then on that same day, without context, so we know that whatever is referred to here must have been an in-person conversation. Okay, hold it. I'm getting messages from some people about the content. Okay, I see. Very good. It's all good. It says, Chris, thank you for being honest with me this morning. Truthfulness is so underrated in our culture. Foo, 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 foo. Saludos cordiales, Nikki. Oh, fancy. She knows other languages. That's so interesting. She's so fancy and earthy and worldly. That's cool. And then Chris Watts responds. We don't know how long later because there's not a timestamp. Nikki, I'm a straightforward guy. Lying just complicates things. You fucking liar. I think you're absolutely stunning. And from what I've learned about you so far, you seem like an amazing person. I hope to continue to get to know you better since we have a lot in common. And I don't give a flying fuck about my family. Chris Watts. Who cares about him? And then, same day, a few hours later, she responds, Chris, agreed. It's always nice to find people you can relate to. I enjoy talking to you as well. I feel understood. That's amazing. Chris Watts might have more talent than we realize if he can understand Nicole Kessinger when she goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and on like she does. I mean, that's like a lot of information to retain and then analyze in your mind and understand. So I don't know, maybe he does have 140 IQ. Maybe I was wrong. She goes on to say, I'm looking for someone to build a beautiful life with. Seems so simple, but so unrealistic sometimes. Building something similar to like what you have done with your wife and those cute little girls. I wonder why she wrote that, because did she think that she thought she knew all along that he was divorcing his wife and they weren't happy together? And that's really weird that she wrote that. I don't know. She goes on to say, I do believe in karma. I'm so glad about that, Nikki, because it's going to bite you in the butt. So out of respect for myself, I'm sorry. I can't with the side comments. I can't. I should have someone else reading this. I'm sorry. I just can't. I can't not. I'm sorry. Okay. I do believe in karma. So out of respect for myself, you, and your family, it's so hard to not say anything here. I think it's best that we keep that friendship at work. By the way, I keep the conversations we have between us. Best regards, Skanky and Pinata. Chris responds, super upset, I'm sure. Nikki, yes, a beautiful life is something that is hard to find in this world since people always seem to have an agenda for everything. I hope he's found his beautiful life in Dodge Correctional Facility. What do you guys think about that? You think he did? I do believe in karma, so I agree with that as well. Any conversations we have will stay between us. Sorry. No need to worry there. My work number is whatever. If you need to get a hold of me in the field. Sometimes email can be tricky with my spotty service out here. I have an early morning meeting and then I'm done. LOTO? What does that mean? I'm doing LOTO. I guess we're not supposed to know what that means. It's an industry thing, maybe. For a construction crew on various sites all day. So if I don't see you tomorrow, I hope you have an amazing day. Chrissy, Watty. So that's it. So here's the question. Based on those emails that I just read you, and you better reply to chat or I'm going to be mad at you guys. Do you think that Tony Husky would have been able to say to law enforcement that, yeah, like he was having a relationship with this girl at work? Let's actually find out exactly what it was he saw or said, because we don't need to take my word for it. It's in the discovery. Do you think that's enough for him to make that conclusion? I think he was probably pretty confident in it if he told investigators that. Let's see. I'm so sorry for my voice and my sniffling and all that. I just can't help. I can't help it. It's like it's either that or nothing. I don't have any choices right now. Let's see. All right. Well, okay. It's not his actual email. I'm sorry. It is law enforcement summarizing his email. Sometimes I get a little confused what's actually in discovery and what's summarized. Okay. It should be noted that approximately 3 hours before the polygraph was scheduled to begin, and it was scheduled to begin at 8 a.m. And from what I understand, his communication to law enforcement was at 5:16 a.m. that morning. I received a phone call from Anadarko Regional Security Manager, who's up early, Tony Husky. Husky advised that he reviewed Chris Watt's computer network traffic, and it was possible. Okay, so he said it's possible Chris had started a relationship with an Anadarko contracted employee. Husky advised he located emails between Chris and the contracted employee, who's identified as Nicole or Nikki Kessinger. It said it appeared a relationship began between Chris and Kessinger that started around June of 2018. Husky further explained that Kessinger was a geoscience side of the company and helped with land surveying. Husky explained that Chris and Kessinger worked out of the same office in Platteville, Colorado. He advised he'd be forwarding the emails as he did. So, all right. So, do you think that what we can read in the emails and what is stated right there by Tony Husky, do you think he made a reasonable conclusion? And then I'm going to also put the link in chat if guilty of crime, if you would like to come up on panel. So I'll probably open it up in a little while. I just want to have guilty of crime up first so we can feature her a little bit and I can chat with her. So here is the link. Whoops. And then she can talk while I mute my microphone so I can sniffle and stuff. Oh, God. I wish this would go away. Honey bun, did you get my email? I told you half an hour after the live stream, I'm going to reserve that for you so we can talk about March. Okay. Hi, Chris. I love Chris. She's so funny and smart. And Chris says, oh, there's saying something smart. There's our Chris. And hey, Jay, I see you. I will grab you in just 1 second, sweetheart. So Chris says, oh, shoot. I usually turn my camera on when I have guests, but I can't right now because I'm a mess. I haven't even showered today. Yes, because there are observations that go along with this. Okay. But Chris, my question was, well, maybe it wasn't, but I'm going to narrow it down now because you're smart. So you're challenging me. Based on the emails alone, was that enough for Tony Husky to make the conclusion that he did about the relationship? And I need to know what you guys think because I kind of have a theory on this, but I need some help from you guys. Are you saying no to that? My question? Joan says, I don't think so. There must have been more of these. Okay. Thank you. Super sneaky subject line. I have to read it again. Am I missing something there? I'm sure it is. Can't remember what. iNet now app issues. Yeah. Right. Totally. Hi, Subrosa. Hey, Lee RD. Aw, Lee RD is our girl. Lee RD is the founder of the Nicole Kessinger's in federal custody with a nice, comfortable mattress, eating whatever she wants and access to sunshine all day long theory. Lee RD, you are a legend. Thank you for being here. Cynthia says, I think that there are rumors going on all around the office And Tony used the email and it's some kind of verification. I think that's probably true too. Okay, so all right, so I'm gonna bring up Jai from Guilty of Crime, and then I see you, Chris. I'm gonna bring you up after. Oh, well, I was gonna bring. Okay, well, if you want to come up, get your butt back up there, girl, and then I'll bring you up in a little bit. Okay, so let's see. Hey, how are you doing? Welcome. How's it going?
I'm doing well, and it's Jay with Guilty of Crime. It's okay.
Jay, I'm
You said-
sorry. Okay, Jay. I taught you. Well, I
That's
still
okay.
actually teach yoga. I have taught yoga for about over 20 years now. And Jai in Sanskrit is actually, it's a word, and it's a really great word. It means this like super joyful happiness. And so
Oh,
I know a
that's a
few
good
people
word.
from the yoga. Yeah, no, I get that vibe from you. So I thought maybe you were like the child of a yogi. I know a few people from like my yoga community that have children they name Jai because it's such a beautiful meaning. So yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So everybody, Jay has a channel, Guilty of Crime. And McJay, if you can pop her link in the chat and stuff, that'd be amazing. And I just came across it recently. I'm going to ask her how old it is and stuff in just a moment. But I came back to your channel, Jay, because I just love your personality. I was watching you and I was like, she's freaking awesome. I want to be her friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I've seen you as well, and Mr. Deception Detective called both of us out the other day to do
Oh,
a
did he?
collaboration. Yeah, I
Nice.
saw. That's where I heard about you, and then I started doing Watts Wednesdays, and I like you. I
Nice.
like your content's on point.
Thank you so much. Now, did he put out another Kessinger video that I missed? The last one that was the manipulation one, the fourth one that I saw.
He hasn't. He redid one and then
Okay.
put another one right at the same time. But he was asking a question, and he said guilty of crime, and then Watts the obsession. He called,
Cool.
yeah. He asked. So that's how I saw
love
you
him.
with
We love
Mr.
Deception
D.
Detective. He's great. So how long?
Yeah.
How old is your channel? When did you start your channel?
I barely started. I'm gonna say 4 or 5 months ago, and I have about 8,800 subscribers, so it's doing pretty well.
Awesome. That's great. Wait, I'm sorry. I was just reading a comment about you on Munchpin. Can you tell me that again? How long ago?
I think around the beginning of February of this year.
Nice. And
Yeah,
how
I
many
just
subscribers do you
started.
have?
Around 8,800.
That's great. Congratulations. That's amazing growth. That's fabulous.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
job.
you.
See,
Yeah.
people are like, other people want to be your friend too. I know they do because you're awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I like the content with no BS. Just bring
Yes.
it.
Yes, I am all about that. Yes, that's another reason I like your channel. That's great. Now,
Thank
okay,
you.
so I think one of the, or maybe it was the last video I watched when, I don't know, I caught her live the other day, fortunately, so I got to chat a little bit. I don't remember which one it was, but I know in the very beginning, you said, and give me an honest opinion about this. You said that, you were, it's kind of something, I'm totally paraphrasing, obviously. This is what I
You're
heard.
okay.
Like, it's kind of good to talk about a case where things are already settled. I do remember you use the word settled because I was going to invite you on and I wrote it down because I wanted to ask you this question. As far as, we know that Chris Watts has been arrested. He's in prison. So like basically what I was thinking, it doesn't have the anxiety around it. It's a crime that is completely unsolved. And like, we're still looking for who did this and like all the anxiety of like the Idaho case before Brian Kohlberger was arrested. Remember that? So it doesn't have all of
Absolutely.
that. So do you think
It
this case
doesn't.
is fully settled and resolved, or do you think that there are answers or questions out there and issues of incomplete justice still lingering?
No, I absolutely think there's incomplete justice. Do I think that they're ever going to go after anybody? Absolutely not. I think Nicole Kessinger got a free pass. But we are still going after her, and that's why I do collaborations with DD, and I want to come on here because I absolutely believe that Nicole Kessinger pushed him to the edge. She was there that morning. We saw the pings there and so many other things that we can talk about. I absolutely think she has culpability, and that would be great if somebody would come in and open that case back up, with fresh eyes.
Yeah. I agree. And you're getting tons of compliments in chat, by the way, and a lot of people have subscribed. So I just want you to know that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And oh, are you just saying hi to her? Do you know Lee RD? Like, do you go to her channel, Jai? She was the person I was talking about that, gave us the theory about Nicole Kessinger being in federal custody. And I didn't think so whatsoever since she said what she had to say. Now I'm just not sure. But anyway, we love you,
No,
Lee
I
RD.
do not. Yeah, I don't think so.
She's
Yeah,
just saying hi because she's friendly and awesome. Okay, gotcha.
yeah.
So
But I would love for that to happen. Yeah, I'd love for them to open it back up because she never was tried for anything, which means that can happen.
Oh, she has no possibility of double jeopardy. She is like a wide open, spanky
Exactly.
empanada, ready to be savaged.
Yeah, absolutely. Overcooked empanada.
Yes. Oh my God. Oh God. This is so
Yeah,
cheesy.
I'm
It's
with you.
unreal. This is so cheesy. It's unreal. I like that. It's a good compliment. What's cheesy about this? Do tell. I always love feedback. And then Clutch says you have a great smile.
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
I
Well,
love the
they do have the
naysayers.
empanada, Yeah, they do have she does call, he calls her or she calls it herself something, my little empanada in those nasty text messages.
Yes,
So, hey,
yes.
that's what she
My sexy
deserves.
empanada.
My sexy
Yeah.
empanada.
Yeah,
Well,
our
she's
name for
overcooked.
her here, is Skanky Empanada. Just like she is synonymous with Skanky Empanada. Yeah.
Perfect. We'll call her Skanky Empanada as well. She doesn't deserve a name.
I know. It's terrible, but she just I don't know. It's just now, do you have any thought on why it is she was treated with kid gloves? Why they did not question her fairly? Why? I mean, if you are a fan of Deception Detective, you already know all this stuff. Why all of that he points out?
Well, a couple reasons. The first reason is I think they really wanted to get their case solved and not include anybody else. They wanted to, they didn't want to spend any more resources. They had Chris Watts. They had what they needed with her. Her dad was there, possible ties to law enforcement,
Right.
and they didn't want it messy. They had the guy. They didn't see any text messages she deleted them, but they didn't see anything that said she was involved, and they just wanted to close it up. In my thoughts, they were also a little smitten by her as well.
Mm-hmm. Ew.
Yeah.
Ew. I agree with that, but and I think all those answers that you've given, I think those are all like totally legitimate. When I start to think about those possibilities, we think to other cases where, and I know obviously everyone is not the same. Every like local law enforcement and prosecution office is not going to be the same. But you can think of so many cases where investigators and prosecutors really went above and beyond to make sure that everybody who was responsible for something so horrible was brought to justice. And the fact that it seems that there was no enthusiasm for that idea at all here just burns my ass. I can't stand it. I just can't stand it.
And it's the whole, there's a huge community. I mean, you've got, 50,000 subs and there's so many channels about this because they are upset about it. But I think just that particular circumstance, that particular case, and the detective and the sets of them just didn't want to get messy. They wanted him to confess and they made him a deal and that was it, to be honest. And they didn't have anything really solid. They really didn't have anything solid that would say she was planned it with them or she was there.
Yeah.
Even the ping is still not solid enough to get a conviction.
No, you're right. It's not. You're not. I mean, they're definitely, I think that circumstantial evidence would need to be brought in for sure. But, and
Exactly.
we do know, and I know, and many of you heard me say this, just bear with me for a minute. For those of you who don't, I have a friend who's an attorney who, long story, history with him and history of him with the case. Go back and watch my videos. I don't even want to get into it now. You all know Alex. And there's like 3 years of like a lot of explaining to you about some of this, about how I got to some of the official information that I did that's not out there in the public platform. Trust me, there's receipts for everything. We would just be here a long time going through the cash register to ring those all up right now. So
I believe you.
Yes. Thank you. So we talked to somebody who was, I always say it like this, very close to the investigation. And when did he talk to this person? When he was out on business, he was in Colorado. From that, many of you have guessed who it is. I'll never tell you who's right. Several of you have been right, but I can't tell you because he would, oh my God, the wrath of God would come down on me. Oh my God. I would never do that to you, Alex. I'm so sorry, but it would be really bad. Anyway, it would be so betrayal of a trust of a really important friendship.
Of course, yeah.
So, but
You
this
want to
person, go ahead.
Yeah, no revealing sources. No revealing sources, right?
Yeah, no. But because people want to know, and people are, why don't? Well, I mean, you kind of got to get it. Like, and I'm sure that he regrets that he told me this now. And again, I'm sorry, Alex, but through the course of a conversation between somebody who was close to this investigation and an attorney who was very seriously inquiring into some aspects of this investigation, with a possible, he's a defense attorney who has who does regular defense trial work, and he also has a non-for-profit up in North Jersey. He was really thinking about like trying to take on in the court system certain elements of this case, not necessarily right away representing like Chris Watts per se, and I don't know if he ever would have, but taking on certain elements. And like people need to understand that there are things that could be done short of representing Chris Watts, not even civil, still, but certain aspects of the criminal investigation and prosecution of the case. But it doesn't mean he was like, oh, I want to get Chris Watts off. You know what I mean?
Right.
But he just has issues of, people not doing their job right too, So
there you go.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
When there's such an important, when it has to do with defending something so important, the horrific loss of these beautiful innocent lives, So he was this was said that they recovered every single one of the text they recovered all the text messages from Nicole Kessinger's phone. Now I hadn't really even thought too much past that because I was just so excited that we knew that until I started watching Deception Detective, and he gave so much emphasis to the idea that it's very clear that Chris and Nicole must have been communicating through a third-party app, which I've always thought, but what he has to add to that conversation convinces me beyond any shadow of a doubt. Like it's like a fact to me. I mean, it's not a fact, but it is a fact. We know that they did. So
we know that it did. They had the calculator app, and there's many other apps back then, right? We were in 2018, so it was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oops, sorry, I just took a bite of a carrot. I thought you were going to say a couple more words, Jay.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. No, I'm 110% on that side, and I know that they did. Whether or not, I mean, I don't know for a fact, but I'm almost positive with the calculator app, it could have been that app behind another app that was encrypted. And we don't know what other, we don't know if they went through LinkedIn also or some other form, but I know that they did. They were smart enough to do that. She was a geologist, and even with the calculator app, I was a little surprised when the case first came out hearing about that, because those things were fairly new. Facebook was at its height, right? That's why the whole thing blew up how it did, because the oops, I did it again Facebook post, and then he annihilated his family. And that was the height of social media and Facebook.
Yep, that's right. That's right. Really good point. Hey, I'm so glad that you said that, because, all right. So, and you probably, or maybe you did, I don't know. I could say this about everything we're going to talk about. Maybe you already are aware of this or not. So I'm not going to say it every time, but let's take a look at this. And then you can tell us if you were aware of it or not. So we were just checking out those emails between Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts. And the date for those was June 12th. And all of the emails between them, I do believe they are in the discovery there based on something like what I just told you. But I believe that to be true. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong about that one. Every single one of them is on June 12th. So on that day, for whatever reason, they decided it was Skanky Empanada and Dirty Bastard email day. And they celebrated it, and they emailed, and then they stopped and never did it again. So what else was going on around that time? Well, hot damn, wouldn't you know? Oh, this is so terrible. Oh, I don't know if I have a video put together. Well, I'll start talking about, then I'll find you the visual. No, wait, I can't. I got to find it first. I got to be sure about the date. I don't know if it's the 11th or the 12th.
Do your thing. I played some text messages last time. I put text messages up and I read them, and I think it was like the day before, and I was really heated because the ones that were missing, and so this is juicy. Okay, this is juicy for me. I'm excited.
You got it. Okay, perfect. Okay, awesome. Let's see. How old is your daughter? Do you have a daughter? Is it a son or a daughter?
I have a 24-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter.
Aw. Well, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, happy
Appreciate that.
Mother's
To you
Day.
too. Are you a
you.
mother?
I am a mama of a 15-year-old gamer who is usually screaming to the point where people in the live discussion chat become alarmed because he's a gamer.
Well, so is my daughter. She is just
Oh,
she's
God.
on Oculus, and it's
Oh,
like
wow.
I tell her, you gotta be quiet, honey, and go to the other side of the house. But we're at a hotel right now, so
Oh,
hopefully we don't
gosh,
hear any
that's hard.
screaming. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no.
okay.
I mean, one time I didn't realize it was so bad. When I went back and did the replay, I was like, holy God. I'm like, I can't believe people don't like call 911. I'm like, don't they care about me?
I'm glad it's not me. I'm glad it's not only me that happens to.
Oh my God. You
That's
know, okay,
funny.
so that's a good idea for some like innovative tech company. You guys need to make like a microphone that for creators will cancel out the background sound of their gaming children.
Yes, just
Yeah.
that specifically.
Yes, that's it. That's what we want. We'll all buy it, I promise.
We'll be first on the list.
Right. Yeah. Send me the prototype. I will promote the crap out of you.
Me too. Me too. I got one of these right here, and I'm like, please don't pick up everything.
I know. I know. Well, I recently had, I think, an improved like quality of sound in all my videos and live streams. And here's the reason why. People were complaining about the audio, and I was like, these spoiled brats. I was like, I have like the most expensive, fancy microphone you can get out there. And trust me, it was. And then I realized,
I'm sure.
because I also have, it's a really long story about the bunnies too. You'll have to go back and watch some past videos if you want to know the backstory on the bunnies, because it's really crazy that I have 26 bunnies. And I'm not even going there. But happy Mother's Day, girls. You guys are
Yes, happy
obviously
Mother's Day.
liking being mothers. So may freaking reproduce bunnies. And
Yes.
it was picking up, it was such a good microphone. It was so sensitive. It was picking up the sound of the bunnies in their cage and amplifying it. So it was making all the sound of interference. So then I got like a much less quality microphone, and it's terrific.
You know what you do? What I did, I don't know if you did that yet, but you get an equalizer. So I just got an equalizer. Somebody told me about that from the Deception Detective crew,
Oh.
all those guys in the forum. So if you get an equalizer, you can cancel out the background and do all kinds
I
of
had no
treble,
idea.
bass. Yeah, you can. I just got a pretty fancy dancy setup that I don't have right now because I'm in a hotel. But yeah, I'm working on it because people complain no matter what you do. So don't worry about it.
I know. That's true. That's true. No, you seem really good about rolling with the punches. When I was probably, 8 months into my channel, I was getting like mostly privately. I mean, some of my moderators and stuff knew how upset I was getting about some of the comments, but now I'm just like, you know what? Y'all are fucking crazy. And like, that's just what's up. So I'm good with that.
Yes. Thank you for saying that for me.
Yeah. People are just going to say yes. People are going to say like, they're just going to say things. So, all right.
And we're the mentally stable ones. So we stay mentally stable and let them be crazy and just let it roll.
It has to be that way, or or YouTube is going to be a very bad experience for you.
Absolutely. I'm glad somebody can confirm that out loud.
Yes.
All right.
It's true. Oh my gosh. All right. Hold it. I'm a really bad multitasker. I'm looking for this one video with the information I'm trying to show you guys here. Wasn't that long ago. Well, tell us really quick while I'm looking for this. What are some of the biggest, most the things that you think are most interesting about this case, or the biggest issues you'd have with the issue of incomplete justice or whatever it is for you?
Well, one of the most, and I talked about it earlier, one of the biggest things about this case is, first of all, that it's not even an interrogation, I would call it, is the way they were talking to Nicole Kessinger like she was their friend. They gave her the answers. They gave her the questions, which it wasn't a question, and then they gave her the answers. Right. Now, another thing was that ping. I just cannot get that off my mind, why her phone pinged there. What was that about? That bothers me a lot.
I'll tell you it's about. She was there.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking. But how
Right.
is that? That's just not complete justice when that ping is
No.
there. Another thing is that I completely believe with Anne with Deception Detective, she pushed him to the edge. There was a bunch of ultimatums. She knew better than
Yes.
to put him in text messages. She was poking at him, and I believe the reason it happened the day that it did was because she was probably giving him like ultimatum. When are you going to move out? The first of the month's coming up. You got to get a place. Just at him. And I think the culpability, if it was nowadays, you remember the girl recently. What is her name? She pushed her boyfriend to get back in the truck and to unalive himself. Through text message.
Carter, something Carter.
Michelle Carter.
Carter. Yeah.
That was the first case that they've ever tried and won. They didn't get it. It wasn't a huge justice, but they at least convicted her a little bit for that type of thing. So if that's the least amount of culpability, it's still culpable what she was saying to him probably and doing. And so that bothers me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, it does. And have you watched my video there's one in particular where I go over everything having to do with the phone ping and
right.
And it's by experts in the field. It has been proven that ping happened within 300 to 400 yards, within less than 300 to 400 yards range of the Watts house.
And that's why it bothered me so much, because I have seen that. I've seen it. I've seen yours. I've seen 10 different versions or more than that. I've been Watts obsessed too, because this case bothers me.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It does. It just doesn't make sense nowadays. If that was to happen, there would be something that happened and you would never get interrogation that's like that. I wouldn't even call that an interrogation. Again, that was friendly banter.
Yeah, it was. And I love that how you brought up with, and then again, it's the way that the deception detective, it's not like, because his thing is statement analysis. So he's not researching facts, which I think is great. And I think that adds a lot of authenticity to his conclusions and his channel. But from the perspective he comes from, just the way that he has explained things to us about the lies.
Sorry.
That's okay. And was that a dog?
I have 4 dogs, and my dog. Yeah.
What kind of dogs do you have?
I have 2 Yorkies, Maltipoo, and a Bichon. So
somebody in chat, I think, has like a thing for Yorkies. Who is that? Which one of you is that? But
everybody.
Yorkies, dude, they're so cute. Oh crap! I don't remember.
Anyway, I didn't mean. I know what you were saying. You were saying deception detective. Now he doesn't know the cases, and this is where we come in. He doesn't know the cases, and he doesn't need to, because he analyzes the way that the statements are laid out and the words that people use. And so when you come in with like, "Hey, I started to do this," that really means that it's indicating towards a lie. And there's a lot of indications. I was using the deck to analyze with him. So that's where I think that's what you were getting at.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, he helps to. Yeah, no, that's thank you. He helps to like kind of fill in some of those gaps that we haven't been able to, while still being as not bullshitty as we want to be, because we don't have that skill and that talent that he has of like such keen deception detection in statement.
But we're learning.
But we're learning.
Great.
Yeah. He really does a great service by teaching people that on his channel.
He does. Yeah. I use the deck. I use the 52.
I love the deck. I just got it recently. I love it.
Yes. Good job. You'll find it handy. Just keep it right there on your desk when you're filming, and boy, you're gonna find some gems in there for sure.
It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. It's gonna help a lot for sure.
Sure it will. Okay, so this whole time we've been talking, I'm listening, but I'm also trying to.
You're good.
I can't. So, but I'm going to Google it because my shit shows.
That's
up
cool.
I keep forgetting. Okay.
And I'm looking at the chat. I'm just seeing everybody in here talking. And
if you want to say anything, if you want to talk about any chats that are being put up, go right ahead.
Yeah, sure. Also, some people who is supposed to be there. What does that say? That can only be NK. Who is not supposed to be there? Yeah, sometimes you see part of it, but NK did not like the girls. No, absolutely, Brady didn't like the girls. And you say unalive the girls, and they both did. Yeah, there's people that say that, and that's a possibility too. She was also really, really jealous, and it came out in the conversations, we won't call them interrogations, in the conversations, the way she was talking to the detectives, that she was really jealous. And she was looking, we knew she looked them up a year before. She knew he was married, she knew he had kids, and she knew that they had that happy little painted picture of a life that was on, their social media. So the people in chat are spot on about that.
Y'all are very smart.
Yep. I believe NK was intent to manipulating Chris to. Yeah, I do too. I believe that her intent was manipulating Chris to take care of the pregnancy and Shanann.
Yep.
And then she just walked away from it because that man was so dumb he couldn't get away with it longer than, and which we're glad about, right? But
yes.
I know his IQ is supposed to be high,
It's
but
not.
the way he talks is he's dumb as a rock. Dumb as a rock.
There is no way he has 140 IQ. Oh, that's such bullshit. Okay. All right. All right. Let me bring this into the chat here. Okay. Thank you for picking up those comments and stuff. So, we know that, you know what? I'm not even going to get, I actually literally, just so y'all know, I literally recreated, like typed out, like, what would look like the timeline in the discovery, but with the actual things that happened for you guys. But I was going to go over that tonight, but I'm not even going to get to start to. So the next time I do a live stream, I'm going to start right into that. And we're going to really go over it because there's all these issues are completely related and they're in there. But I think this is a better way to do it. I don't know.
It's your show.
Sometimes
it's your show. It's your show, girl. Do your thing.
Like big comments like, oh, I can't believe you did this and this. I'm like, I don't have all the freaking answers. I just get up here and I talk about what I've researched.
That's what I do too. I don't have it scripted.
I never said I was a professional this. I am a behavioral therapist, but I'm not a professional YouTuber. That's for damn sure.
Well, good for you. I'm not a behavioral therapist or anything. I'm just a true crime. I'm addicted to true crime. We'll say that. True crime all the time.
You're good at your addiction. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly.
Okay, so when we look at those emails that were all dated again on June 12th, we see, well, geez, I wonder, we know, this is a given. We know Nicole Kessinger. We know, and I know you're listening, Skinky and Pinata. And we know that she was Googling Shanann Watts and Chris Watts. We know from her search history just what was included in the discovery. In addition to the September 7th first search, 2017, which started off the discovery timeline, just the things that she Googled at the certain times that she did that they disclosed to us. Oh, and by the way, in addition to what's included in the discovery, something else that people should know is that law enforcement got 256 pages of search history from her. I'm assuming it's her phone because we don't know that we ever collected any computers or anything like that from her. Now, we know that on computers and phones, a lot of times accounts are shared. Like when I'm on my phone, I'm on my Google account. When I log into my computer, I'm on my Google account. So those search histories could totally be shared among devices, right? We all know about that. But there's 256 pages of additional search results. Now, I want to clarify what that means because I talked about this before. There was a little stint where I was like really hammering on this in the past. And a lot of people didn't get how important that was. And I realize it's because I didn't explain it thoroughly. It's not just that they printed out, like if you wanted to know what did Kelly from What's the Obsession, what she searched for in Google, you could, if you went back far enough, you could certainly go print out 256 pages that would tell you about all the things that I searched for. But if you wanted to know how many times I searched for Jay from Guilty of True Crime and those are the search parameters. And then you hit print and it was 256 pages. You guys would be like, hot damn. Oh my God.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Yes, we all would.
Crazy.
Yes, exactly. That is crazy.
What those 256 pages were a very specific and narrow set of terms that they were looking for to see if she Googled. And my understanding is there were 3 terms: Shanann Watts, Chris Watts, and I still don't know what the third one is. And I don't know if I'll ever know because that source train is passed. But okay. So there's 256 pages of results when they
Wow.
inquired, when the technician inquired. I want to see when Kessinger searched for Shanann Watts, Chris Watts, or a third term, and I honestly just can't tell you what it is. That is insane.
That is insane. And that was 2017. Did you tell us the date on that? I missed that because now I'm thinking.
I just know I'm like the investigation as a whole, in addition to
Okay.
whatever, they sprinkled throughout the discoveries she searched for, Chris
okay.
Watts, Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts in
And then
2025 Saratoga Trail on the 11th. In addition to
Okay.
those little things that are sprinkled in, there's 256 pages of that shit. And they included like
Interesting.
five instances. Yeah.
Wow. Now I want to know what the third term is. I mean, you're gonna have me looking for that forever. Thanks.
I know. I don't know. I know. I mean, I don't know if it's findable because this was from a.
Oh yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
You got a source, but
yeah, right.
But we do know at least those two, and yeah, maybe one day it will come up. It would be nice if a fresh set of eyes would just take a look at this case in a whole and say, you know what, something's not right about this. They never went after her officially, so there is no double jeopardy on that, and it just would be that would be some justice right there.
That really would be. It would be. And I think it's possible. Let me just say thank you to these people. Maggie Bridget, how are you doing? It's Skanky Enchilada. You know what? Are you saying, because I used to call her like the Skanky Empanada, the something taquito. And I don't remember, guys. But those are memories. Those are some memories of our pet names for that girl. So Maggie Bridget, thank you so much. Maggie says it's Skanky Enchilada. Okay, we can go with that too. I like that. And then
I remember empanada, but yeah.
Yes. And then for the longest time I said, and I was a Spanish minor in college, shame on me. I was saying empanada, and then I got corrected by people, and thank you. I'm sure you have the same situation. Like, my viewers always correct me if I do something wrong. They're sure that they don't want me to do it again. So they, so they're like, oh my God.
Yes. It doesn't matter what you do. If something's wrong with something, it's okay. Yeah. It's just fun to interact with them.
In the part of the world where I am from, we say the word, apparently people have, the helpful viewers of the channel have politely informed me that you say the word documentary like I just said it. It's hard. I have to do something like funny with my face to say it like that because it's weird. What I would always say is documentary, and everyone where I'm from in New York says documentary. I had to ask people. I wrote down the word and I said, "How do you pronounce this?" And they're looking at me like, "Dude, have you finally lost your mind?" I'm like, just say the word.
That is funny.
Documentary, but oh my God, it drove people nuts. It literally, like, people were really like, I mean, it was a thing. So
yeah, anyway. I know it's like affidavit. Some people say it different, and or affiant when you're saying affiant. Some people say affiant, and yeah, people get irritated and they want to correct you. It's funny.
Know. Yeah, I know. Well, thank you guys for keeping us grammatically and syntactically proper.
Carly, I hope you're listening. I know Carly's in chat, one of my mods, and I always tell her things like that. It's funny. She's from Canada, so they've got different versions of words as well.
Yes. And some people really do, give you those little tips, being super sincerely just, hey, look out.
Right.
You said this wrong, or you got this wrong, and I know you're probably gonna get crap for it. And I really do appreciate that. So, and Lee says, love that you stand for justice. You got it, girl. And so do you. And I'm so glad you're here. We love, like, as I mentioned, Lee RD is a Watts the Obsession legend. Okay. So going back to these posts here, we know that those emails all occurred on June 12th, 2018. So, gosh, it was like 20 minutes ago I started to say, and then I go off on these tangents, that we know that she's willing to search things. Okay, so she was searching whatever she was searching. Chris Watts, Shanann Watts, and that third term. So we would see that 2 days before, on June 10th, there is this post. Oh, Bella. I love Bella. That is obviously from Shanann. It says, ready or not, Celeste, here comes baby Watts. Baby Watts. Meaning it's Chris Watts. Baby. Number 3. Well, I mean, his 2 children we got to meet are beautiful. I shouldn't say ugh, but he's just ugh. Okay, well, and then Bella's like pointing big sister 101, and there's Cece being a little snot bag like she is. I love Cece. I wish she was given more parameters and rules and direction in her life, so she wasn't a little snot bag, but she was a cute little snot bag. She was.
Yeah, they all kids are like that. They all have these little different personalities, no
Yes,
matter what you do, though. You
that's
know,
true.
so
That's
they're
true.
all kind of like that. But we wish they were here, and
We do
there
wish
was
they
no
were
reason
here.
for any of that. Chris could have just left, but instead he knew he was going to do that, and he said it that day, not to derail that. But you remember in the interrogations, he says, I thought about it, and I just knew I had to do it, and I did it. Something snapped in him, but when he says I had to do it, that's when I felt like, why did you have to do it? Who is pushing you to have to do that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
another thing.
that is a big one there. And I actually have something I want to talk to you about that. We're going to go back to that because oh, that fascinates me too. So
Yeah, I didn't
so
mean
we
to
have
derail. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Yeah, derail, reраil, derail, rerail, derail, rerail. I know it's all I ever do. So we know on the 10th, this post right here, I think anyone would agree. It's very clear that they're expecting an addition to their family. So then let's see, it'll switch in a minute. I'm just going to let play instead of trying to fast forward to it. On the next day, here we are. On June 11th, wow, this timing is really like ironic, isn't it? It says the
Yeah.
reaction of both Chris finding out. Oops, I forgot to pause it. Hold it. See, I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I told you I don't know what I'm doing.
Almost 50,000 subs later, you don't know what you're doing. I think that's incorrect there.
Well, I feel like I am such a technological fool. Like there's just I feel lost all the time. Everything. I feel like anything having to do with a computer takes me an insane amount of energy to I don't know. You guys are all much more tech savvy than I am. That's all I got to say. But thank you.
Yeah,
So she
you're
says
doing
the
well.
reaction of both Chris finding out we were pregnant and the girls. Bella's is the sweetest in the end. So we also know that along with this post on the 11th, she did post the actual reaction videos of that oops, we did it again, super awkward one with Chris Watt.
Yeah.
And then also, she actually did a few takes of the girls finding out she was pregnant, but she liked one of them the best and she posted that one. So all of that was there as well. And then also, let's see what else Skanky Empanada saw when she Googled Shanann, Chris Watts, or third term. Let's see what's next. Oh, let's see. On June 16th, which was after they talked, so we won't even go there. So, guys, it's freaking, and I know a lot of you know this, and I'm preaching to the choir, and you are the most amazing, beautiful choir ever. But it's so clear that first email exchange, the only email exchange from them that we know about that was put forth by Tony Husky, happened on June 12th. It was on the 10th, 11th, and I believe she posted something on the 7th that hinted at the fact that she might be pregnant, but it wasn't as obvious as this. I mean, come on. Anybody could figure out what was going on there after then knowing that they had an affair and that Nicole Kessinger is a skanky, super jealous empanada and all of that.
Yeah, and her looking at the Facebook page all the time and not knowing that she was pregnant until she saw it in a newspaper, right?
A newspaper, till she read the newspaper.
That's what she called it. She said the newspaper. Yeah,
I know.
she did
That
say
kills
that.
me every time because she's so intellectual and well read and all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she reads the newspapers.
Oh my God. She can't even. Thank you so much, Lou, for the $10 super chat. Oh, thank you so much. This is a great one. Shanann, Love, Cece, Bella, and baby Nico, all with little hearts. Thank you so much. That's awesome. And it is so important for anyone who was here, waiting for this to start. I put in for they call it the trailer. It should start when you turn on the video after I've uploaded it. It was just 3 minutes of just rolling through the crime scene photos from Survey 319. And I know some people don't love to see that. And it is hard, but I think it's so important that, as we're talking about this and we get excited and passionate about what we're talking about, because there is so much at stake here. And what happened is so important and their lives were so meaningful. It's important to remember why this is a discussion at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I did say that. In fact, I do like talking about cases, and I started my channel on serial killers because those cases are solved. And although this case is solved and we've found Chris guilty, there's so much to go back on and talk about that we feel there was an injustice. And you're doing it a justice by keeping it alive. So thank you.
Oh, well, thanks. And I'm glad you're talking about it too. It's all, and some people, I address this every now and then. a lot lately because I really, I felt different ways about this over the past 3 years I've had this channel, but I feel really like confident in my stance now. When people, will say, why are you still talking about this? Oh my God, the whole channel about, and it's not, we do also cover other true crime cases here on What's the Obsession. I just have an unfortunate name if you don't want to hear about this case. but,
Well,
but,
yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I
yeah.
noticed that there was stuff, and yeah, if they don't like it, they can go away, right?
Yeah, and it's like, and they'll always say, let them rest in peace, but it's, guys, it's not like I don't even need to talk about this, but I have always believed I come from a family of attorneys and law enforcement people, as many of you know, and it was a value that was
Awesome.
always instilled in me that I just accepted. And then when I started to think about it and challenge it in my life, I absolutely believed it, that if we want to, enjoy the rights and freedoms and protections given to us by our society, who is based on a democracy
A
justice
democracy, yeah.
system, yes, then we must give a shit about it and take part in it. Or we shouldn't really, assume it's going to be there for us when we need our own rights protected or respected or whatever the case may
Exactly.
be. So,
110%.
and if you're not into all that, I'm like, so sorry. I hope you're into something else that has some like value. But if you're not into anything valuable, I don't know. Thanks for the comment. Like, yeah.
No, it's
So,
100% true. I mean,
yeah.
we want that to happen for us. If something happened in our family or to our kids, all of us, happy Mother's Day to everybody weekend. And if you have kids, you want your kids to be protected by the same things that we're fighting for now. So
Absolutely.
that
Absolutely.
being said, there's a lot of channels that actually are disgraceful that talk about Shanann. There's whole channels
Yeah.
about her, and that to me is bad taste when they're talking bad about a victim. That I
Yeah.
don't take
Yeah.
kindly to. But when you're looking for justice or resolution, or just have people that have a whole community of people that think there wasn't justice done,
Yes.
that's a great channel. That shows love. People disrespecting, that's not tolerable to
Yes.
me.
Well, and now
So
I know I already foresee the comments. This is a good conversation to have anyway, because I certainly know on my own channel, the very one we're all on right now, there are videos
yes,
that when you watch them, Shanann don't look good in them. And I will be the first to say it. And I didn't try to make her look bad. And I'm not trying to
right,
defend that she looked bad. She just looked bad because in addition to the issue, and this is, I think it's in my mission statement for this channel, which I haven't touched. And I know it needs some even spelling edits, but it's original. It's an artifact now. I'm not going to edit it. My two
nope,
purposes for this channel were issues of incomplete justice, and also, as I'm a behavioral therapist, to look at, use true crime as a context to examine human behavior and the meaningful issues to us as people, that have to do with human behavior. And,
right,
one of them in this case is, and if you agree or anyone else agrees, I totally get it. But unfortunately is, it's such a blessing, especially for the families, and above all the families, there's all the photos and pictures of their family that they lost so tragically, and I can't even imagine what they go through in having to deal with that loss every day. I just literally can't even
right,
imagine, and my heart all but literally breaks for them. But then, the rest of the world wants to celebrate their lives too, within those
right,
hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours upon hours of video footage. We also do get across time, and I'm talking a span of over 2 years of time, several instances on several different days and several different seasons. We get a cross section of interaction between the family members. You can even really determine baselines from as
right,
much footage as we get from that. And as much as I want to speak for them as victims, Shanann, Bella, Cece, and Nico, whose lives were so meaningful and they were so loved and they should be here, I do also feel that I need to speak up for a group of people that I've always spoken up for as a person and in my career, which is children who don't have a
right.
voice, don't have a strong enough voice. And I do think that there were some absolute issues in the way that Bella and Celeste were treated. And, I also say along with that, that Shanann was murdered at age 33. If she had been allowed
Right.
to live her life like the rest of us are enjoying our lives right now, hopefully you're enjoying your life, y'all. And if you're not, get support so you can start enjoying your life, because you deserve to enjoy it.
I
But,
love it.
she would have learned she would have learned from her experiences. She showed indications of being a person who did learn from experience. She wasn't fucking stupid, you know. And
No,
she
I
just
love that you
continued
say
to
that.
evolve and got wiser. So we can only
Right.
see her judgments and her actions and her living out her life until age 33. And yes, based on that, I do have some very serious problems with the way she interacted with her children. But I'm also going to tell you, I understand that that's the only sample that I have, and that the biggest tragedy is that she's not here.
And that's okay. You know what? I love that you say that. I didn't know that you did behavioral, like a behavioral specialist, and you went into that. And it's awesome to come from that perspective, because you're coming from a perspective of intelligence and knowledge and what you learned. And I appreciate that. I can say that I saw issues with their relationship and how
Yeah.
she treated Chris, but see, I can't say it intelligently and say, well, she did, I feel like she emasculated him a lot of
Yeah.
times, but
Oh,
he should have
yeah.
left. He should have left.
Exactly.
He should have divorced her. So I'm not talking bad about a victim either, but I do feel like he was emasculated. He didn't want to be on camera a lot. She wrote her own documentary. If you watch the Netflix documentary, it was
really
mostly
did.
her footage. It was her
Yeah.
footage most of the time. They honestly just cut up all her stuff and put it in
Mhm.
there. I don't think she should have put her family on like blast as much. And there was other issues, but you come from your perspective. I appreciate it so much that you're saying that.
Oh, well, thank you. I do appreciate that. And then thank
Yeah.
you for everything you just said. I appreciate that. And then Amanda K, and welcome Amanda K, says Shania Watts didn't do anything to deserve what happened to her. Well, absolutely she didn't.
Absolutely.
And you know what?
Absolutely
And
not.
this is another thing I've been talking about recently, because I was afraid to talk about these things until recently. And I'm finally like, okay, my YouTube channel is 3 years old. I'm a grown up now. I'm going to start talking about whatever I want.
Yes. So much. Yes.
Right. And the 3 years I've been doing this, there's maybe half a dozen people across the board, period, end of story. And people have said some sick, vile shit to me, about me, to other people, about other people on this channel. Things where the police have been involved more than once, way more than once. And I think that's because, I do talk about a lot, such a dividing case. And I get that. And that's part of it. And I've had to make decisions if I want to continue to do that or not. And obviously I decide I'm going to, because here I am. I'm just more careful in certain ways. But what I'm not going to be careful about is telling you the truth about the history of me having this channel. There have been about 6 people total in comments who've said it out loud, who have said it to me in email, who have said that bitch deserved to die because of blah, 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 blah. Like literally no one thinks that. No one.
No, and you know what? Absolutely. People take things out of context. And when someone says she didn't deserve, nobody deserves anything in the totality of the case. And having her life on an open platform, we can say that Chris should have had enough balls to leave if he wasn't happy in his situation.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of times on camera where he was very meek and she blasted him on there. So we don't know how it was in real life, because that's all we saw.
Yeah.
But of course, Shanann nobody deserves that.
No, my God, she certainly didn't. She was, and then Amanda K, who I pinned the other comment to follow up. I just want to be fair, since I pinned her comment, to see what else she had to say. Says they obviously weren't perfect, and like any marriage,
right,
they had issues, but she wasn't horrible like some make her out to be. Well, I certainly agree.
No,
people go way too
yes,
far.
there's whole channels on that. There's whole channels that I'm like, can't you all have some better content than that? Come on.
I mean, that's there are some clear instances of just, to me, what it looks like is just jealousy and resentment for some reason that has nothing to do with poor Shanann. Like, it doesn't have to do with her at that point. It has to do with the creators themselves working out something, and she just happens to be there. Oh, Chris, I was literally just gonna click on you. Do you mind if I open up panel a little bit, Jay?
Oh no, I can. You want me to? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's your channel.
Well, I want to be respectful to you, since I was such a jerk face.
Well,
I never even told you.
thank you.
Let you know that the live stream wasn't happening, which I'm so sorry about.
That's okay.
But I couldn't. Like I told you, I couldn't do anything on my computer. But then I thought at some point I was gonna get my phone and catch your email, and then I just didn't, because it was busy, and
I appreciate
5,000 kids here, and I'm sorry that happened.
You don't worry about it.
So we're gonna bring up Chris, and Chris is like one of my. I have a couple of we were separated at birth, or we are split eggs that ended up in different bodies somehow. Like people on the channel, Chris is one of them. She has a doctoral degree in human behavior, so we kind of are into sort of the same stuff, and she's really funny and smart. So you're gonna love her. So hi, Chris. How are
Awesome.
you doing?
Hi, I'm somewhere torn between wanting to be the audience tonight, so I would go backstage and then come back to here and go backstage.
I was like, no, Chris is there. Chris is gone.
Oh,
No,
but like the comments are so good, and then
they
we started to
are.
tiptoe into
Yes,
like some of the witness shenan behavior, so I went back off stage.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
I
its
know. I saw your
own
comment. You're like
thing.
tiptoe, Kelly, tiptoe.
Yeah. Like so that's the part of this that absolutely fascinates me. I have taught a master's level course where this was our case for the semester,
hmm
and everybody's turning papers in now, so I am so knee deep into this case
Oh
and
wow.
going back and listening to interviews because some of my
And what
students
aspect were you
are
specifically looking at? I mean, but
new
what
to
aspect
it.
were you specifically looking at in your course? Like, frame that for us.
It's around identifying families in crisis,
Yeah.
how social media gives us sort of new
Mm-hmm.
insights, but sometimes
Yep.
skewed insights. And part of their curriculum was we batched her Facebook videos that are available on YouTube, and they did, it's just I've been in this since 2018. I told you why it was so personal to me, and so to see kind of new eyes or see people who were like teenagers when this happened, so they totally missed it.
Mm-hmm.
uh but the comments have just been so spot on tonight,
They
and
are. Yeah.
man, it's like
Yeah.
on fire. And
They're
like I said,
smart.
I kept like tipping in and tipping out. I'm like, I don't want any parts of this. I kind of want to be a part of it. I don't want any parts of this. Girl, I got something to say. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
been
Yes.
in and out.
Yes. Yes. So go. So what have we been? What's been discussed that you want to comment on?
I think there was a good conversation about maybe Kelly for DA. I love that
I
like
didn't
your
see that one.
panelists talked
Kelly for
about,
DA. Yes.
this case not being reopened, and there's a part of me going back. Detective Baumhover, I know he
God
retired
love
due to
him.
PTSD. I think he retired because he was
He did.
disgusted by how
Oh
this
yeah.
case was handled. I mean,
I think that played into it too. I'm glad you said that. I've never even talked about that, but I think so too. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, this is a man who stood guard outside the batteries that night until they could start the rescue mission. And I think part of his retirement was to get him out. But I have an uncle who was, my family's from New Jersey. He retired for a very prominent Newark coal case. And he came out of
Wait, did
retirement
you say
like George,
Newark?
Newark, New Jersey.
Wait a minute. Oh my God, I have to email you something. Did you know that's where I went to law school?
You went to Okay, then
No.
I went to the elementary school at your law school if you went to the one that
No.
starts with an R. I'm a Jersey girl.
Crazy.
That's
That's so crazy. I went to law school at Seton Hall, but there's something else that I can't say here because it has to do with my friend Alex. I'm going to email you. Okay, cool. That's
okay.
awesome.
But
East Coast,
Yeah,
East
there
Coast,
right?
West Coast.
Where are you from,
I'm
Jay?
California.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
California.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
went to grad school out in the Bay Area too, so I'm a Northern
Yes.
Cali girl too. I went
Yep.
to
I'm in the
Stanford
Bay
for grad
Area.
school. I went to Stanford for grad school, so
Go Stanford.
and then had to
Love it
get
out
out because
here.
I couldn't afford to stay any longer. But I do have an uncle who was in retirement 12 years and came out for a cold case that just he couldn't go to sleep at night over. So it does happen. And I believe a new DA, and I believe that Balmover has a moral compass that maybe others don't have.
I think
And
so
I
too.
think he's, for me, the great hope. And I hope that we see a new DA, and I hope we see Balmover, because I think that those two could be a powerful combination.
Yes. Yes. I think so too. I think so too. Wait, just one second. I want to go right back to this. Joanne says, "Good night, all. Please let up SW rest in peace. She loved her girls." Case in point.
She,
Absolutely.
There's nothing that we're discussing
she's
that's going to
resting in
disrupt her
peace.
peace, but what we are doing is advocating for justice for her, and no doubt she loved her girls. And guys in chat, I'm sorry, it's my fault. It's totally my fault. I brought up the issues like the family issues, but let's please just move on to it in chat because I don't want bad feelings. I love y'all. Happy Mother's Day, mommies out there. And so let's just move on from that, please. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Chris. I just wanted to kind of
Yeah, I was gonna say that there's nothing we can do to stop the resting in peace
Right.
process, but there is everything we can do to prevent incomplete justice.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
An example of incomplete justice that could allow something horrible to happen to another family because they don't understand that there are going to be consequences. I mean, the more times we let things like this pass, the more people feel able to do it.
Right. And we don't even know where, like, for instance, just NK, the skanky empanada. We don't know where she is, what family she may have gone on to wreck. Did she have kids? You know what? I mean, we know she's conniving and cunning. Where'd she go? What is she doing? Right?
Better not be in my damn neighborhood. I know that.
Just don't let her around your husband, okay? If anybody's married.
Seriously. Oh God. Oh crap. So okay, wherever you guys want to go, I lost my train of thought. Keep talking. I got to get a drink really quick because my throat is on en fuego. But you guys are awesome. Keep talking. Keep talking.
Handle it. Hello, Chris. I like your picture there.
Thank
of
you.
your
That's my
puppy
Chloe.
dog.
That's my
That's
Chloe.
your.
When you said you had a Chloe, I was like, "You're my
Mine's
people."
Bowie. I
Oh,
have a
Bowie. I
Bowie.
thought you said Chloe.
It's okay. I have a Bowie. I have a Wesson. I have a Trace, and I have the noob dog is Pieces, like Reese's Pieces.
Oh, yeah. She's my Cavapoo, and she runs the house.
Aw, poodles are smart.
Yes, they are, and
Cavapoos are beautiful, though.
and
Yeah.
stubborn too. But I subscribe to your channel. Like I said, this course has been amazing to see new perspectives on the case. Like I said, we
Well,
look
thank
at it
you.
through the lens of actually, Kelly and I've never had a chat. I have, I see a lot of myself in Shanann. I'm half Italian. I'm a
Right.
Jersey girl. I've got the street smart, the savvy. I certainly got the
Right.
mouth. I've got the
Hey, strong women.
strong women, but also flawed women, and it's okay. And it doesn't mean that we deserve to die. It doesn't mean we love our kids any less. It just means we're doing the
Right.
best we can and we learn.
Exactly. I
So
appreciate that.
yep, yep. I had my first kid when she passed away. She was 34 when she died. I had my first kid at 34. It's been almost 10 years, and I'm a different person. I wouldn't marry the
Yeah.
man I'm married, and had for starters. So I love Kelly's perspective. I love the way I love this community she's cultivated that is honest, that's funny, but that's very real. I mean, you have some channels that to me go way too far. My head can't go quite, but I respect the conspiracy theories and all the
Right.
things. And so this is just a great, for me, middle ground. And I just always understand sort of Kelly's
Right.
logic, and it's the
Well,
thing
I
we can't let
appreciate it.
go of.
I appreciate the receipts. She brings the receipts, she brings the timelines, and she brings what's happening, I don't feel that there's conspiracy theories when you see the receipts and what's
Right.
happening. And then of course we have to have a
Right.
theory, right? Because we didn't get complete justice. So that's awesome that you said that, because I feel that way about this channel. You see the receipts, and her perspective is great. So spot on. Thank you, Kelly.
Well, thank you guys. You're being too kind. I'm blushing.
Yeah. And
I
as much
appreciate
as we
it.
talk about this case that's now almost 5 years old, to me, we're talking about the now. Um, there was a great chat around like maybe possible drug use. I always say Chris was high as a kite during that
I
Porsche
think
interview.
I think he was doing. Okay. Well, let's go there. I think. Wait.
Yeah.
Let me thank Maggie really quick before, because I don't want to drag Maggie into the ugly conversation. No, Maggie, you're so sweet. And Maggie says we study and discuss this case because we want justice and don't want this to ever happen again. Maggie, so well said. Thank
Amen.
you so much. Yes, perfect. That's exactly it. That is exactly it. And as far as Chris Watts, this is my perception of Chris Watts. I feel like, I don't know. No, I feel comfortable in saying this. I feel like I know Chris Watts better than just about anybody out there, and I'm talking about in the world, because I have studied this crime and this person and like Leah D was talking about, she was teaching this in a master's course. I started this channel because I was finishing up my last behavioral degree to do something specialized, and as part of like my capstone project, or it would be like a thesis, I use when we had to use like, well, it doesn't matter what we had to do, but for whatever reason I did it, because I'm going to go down a rabbit, or I'm going to go on a tangent if I start talking about it, because there's a lot of fun things to talk about. Serious, kind of fun and gross. I don't know. See, I'm doing it already. I used this case and I got so interested in it, and I had this intense interest in this case after, when I first heard about it, I like put my fingers in my ears and went la 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 la. I don't ever want to hear about that again. I almost threw up when I learned about it. Like I literally almost threw up. It was so viscerally upsetting for me, and I know a lot of people can relate to this, that I did not, I was like, I never want to hear about that again. And if I hear about it again, I'm going to turn it off, or I'm going to run, because this is so upsetting it shook me to the core. And I've always loved true crime, and I've always, been willing to go really deep into people's darkest sides. But for some reason, this just, it shocked me in a way that I didn't want to be shocked. And so I got over that pretty quickly, because curiosity kills a cat, and everything else.
Right.
So I did start to like tune into the case, and then it wasn't until I started really researching for academic career purposes that I really started to get hooked on it. And anyhow, of course, now I already lost my freaking train of thought. Where was I going before I went down that road?
You were saying
Oh,
how
you're
you understand. We were talking about drugs, and you were
right.
saying you
Oh, there you
understand
go.
Yeah,
CW.
yeah. I want
I
to hear
feel
that theory.
justified in what some of you are going to think sounds like I'm a freaking idiot or being arrogant, but I don't think it's either. I know Chris Watts really, really, really well. And what I mean is from a like personality profile perspective. I mean,
Right.
I don't know. It's, I mean, I just do. So I really think that
Right.
he definitely never used drugs until he was with NK. And I think that he was using them with her because of all the things that we've already talked about, how she was manipulating him, and she
Well,
had
and
this
he's
thing over him
easily
where he would go to levels he wouldn't
influenced.
before. What's that?
He's easily influenced.
He is easily influenced. Yes, he is. He's a parasite, chameleon, malleable, something or other. Yes.
Yes. Thank you for saying that, because I was trying. I mean, you have that behavioral analysis, and I was trying to understand, and that's why I'm here, because I'm trying to understand this case better. And his personality is just what you said. It's off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. And and why yeah, it is. And it probably, like, to your point, Chris, the reason he never did drugs before that is because he didn't, his life didn't like end up in a way where the person who was the primary and almost sole influence in his life, like some woman always was, at the complete, termination of a relationship with another, like he had a pattern of doing. Like he just hadn't come across that yet, but yeah, I definitely think he was on drugs, and I don't even remember why we were talking about that either. But
Well,
yeah.
I was talking about one of the themes in the chat that talked about were him and Kay tested at any point, and I because of this opioid crisis, though it's not what I set out to do, it has almost become a daily part
Yeah.
of my work. I know when I see somebody on benzos, which
Yes.
I'm willing to bet my career and my license on that. When he did that sermon on the porch, he was
Yeah.
Right.
there was nobody there. I know that look. And so it's funny you say CW, I know SW. I feel like I know her inside and out. So maybe we should get
Yeah.
together and
Yeah.
figure
Right.
this thing
Figure
out,
things
Kelly, because
out.
I feel like I understand her almost too well, uncomfortably well sometimes. But I've learned so much from her.
I'm wondering about. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Go
I
ahead.
wasn't saying anything.
Oh no, okay. I was just wondering, because I know he was taking. Now, I know he was doing the Thrive patches, and I heard that those had some kind of, like stimulants in those. Once he started taking those, he was working out. do you think he was additionally taking some kind of uppers then? Now I know him and NK I think they were experimenting with maybe different kinds of, when you say drugs, meaning like what?
Synthetic.
I was thinking, okay, synthetic. Okay. So they were smoking weed and things like that.
Mhm.
But
My
uppers?
favorite still Magnolia's quote, they were smoking everything but their socks.
Okay.
That was one of my favorite movies.
I love that movie.
I don't know what it is. I do know what it is, but I do think that I can see hallucinogenics.
Yeah,
Even the pictures, looking at them at the sand dunes. If I just go back and zero in on their, when they were in their 2 months of bliss,
Yes.
it's
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
think
they
he
were.
was using uppers. I think I tried the Thrive patch. I had to stop using it because I told people it made my heart race. It made me sweat. It was making me a little anxious. I was losing weight like in the week and a half. I think it was 2.5 weeks was using it. I wasn't trying to lose weight and I was like losing weight. It was really crazy. I don't think I think it's all like herbal stuff because the FDA,
Right.
someone would be all over that if it's sold in the
But
United States. But
Well,
it
I
does
did
have
hear
something that has a
that.
stimulant effect
Right.
for sure.
I
'Cause
did
I
hear
smoked
that. I
it.
heard that his personality changed after he started doing the Thrive patches. It changed a lot where he was just completely going a million miles an hour and focused on just, he went on that health kick, but it also
But
changed his personality where, he was not calm.
But I think I think that the hard thing about that is I think it's hard to determine the cause and effect relationships during that time because it was
Right.
at that time there's several things happening. This is when Shanann just went gung ho into selling Thrive. Now a few things happened with that. She had really turned her back on the idea of like any kind of traditional work thing. She was determined to make this work. She was
Right.
inflating her own success in the business. She was bleeding money. She was putting on like a whole, she had to lie about it to everybody in her life to continue to stay in this. I truly think, and sometimes people don't think what I just said, what I'm about to say can go together, but they do. Because I've also been sucked up into the M world, as many of you know. I really think that she thought, okay, I just have to get through this. I just have to invest in starting up my business. I really believe in this. I want, a better lifestyle. I want to help other people have a better lifestyle because I really believe in this. It's going to have to work for me because the power of positive thinking that the MLM people sell you is a load of bullshit, but you believe it so easily. And I don't think but she just found herself in a really bad spot. I think that contributed to, you can see in her at that time, a market increase in anxiety. And you can also see in Bella a market decrease in her level of happiness, her skill development that was appropriate for her age. All kinds of shit was going on in that family. And so he started using Thrive. And then
Right.
also Shanann is encouraging him to, because she wants to be able to use him to sell her project. Shanann never encouraged him to do jack squat. So getting any kind of encouragement from Shanann, even if it was only so she could use him to sell her product, was like gold to him because at the time he was really truly and deeply in love with her. And all he wanted was her encouragement and approval, which he very, very rarely got. So I think for that reason, and also because he used to work out, but he said that he stopped because Shanann did not like it when he went running and all of these things. It wasn't time that was, contributing directly towards the family. It was time that was contributing to his well-being, and that was no good. He's like, great. Well, now I can actually work out and stuff, and I'm getting this positive attention from my wife, and I look better and I feel better, and that's amazing. And I think all of those things too can contribute to his increase in energy and the variation in his personality. So that's just all to say, that there was it was a very complicated time for them that kicked off this beginning of the decline, the fast decline into crisis for each of them individually and for them as a family.
Well, Kelly, I also think there's one thing to consider too. They had been on Thrive for years, but Thrive released that new Duo Burn patch that they took off and reformulated. Shanann could not take it because she was pregnant. But if you look at her video with Christine, not with Christine, with Christina Meacham, Christina goes, "It's 9 a.m. breezy and it's my first day and I'm here sweating." She says that when she does the interview with
Oh, I believe
Shanann
it.
in May.
I
And
believe it.
so that new duo, it was a new patch. Shanann talks about how she put it on him and he had mopped, vacuumed, done all the chores in about 2 hours. And so I do know that Thrive reformulated that particular patch, and even in their private text messages, Christina said it's affected me. Like I don't have a, my sex drive is low. So maybe that's it, when she was trying to comfort Shanann about why Chris may be rejecting her. So I want to make sure that we're
Right.
delineating between the normal Thrive patches and that Duo Burn, which they released right around
Absolutely.
that May time frame.
Yeah. And that dual
Appreciate
burn
that.
patch, like I said, it affected me physiologically. It definitely increased my heart rate, my metabolism.
Yeah.
Like it was not healthy. It was not good.
Right. And I heard that
If I
about.
was really overweight, and the best thing, my doctor said, listen, girl, the best thing for your health right now, because you are in such a danger zone because of your weight and your, what you're putting into your body, is you need to lose the weight. Then, I think it could certainly be worth it. Because if your biggest health concern is that you have too much weight and and you have to lose the weight, you got to lose the weight. But if that's not your case, I can't see it being good for anybody.
Yeah, but how do you
Right.
account for the Thrive conventions where there were so many like high level thrivers who,
It's
you know,
pyramid schemes.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's what.
my mentality.
I mean, they just weren't in optimal shape, is what I was going to say. So
Oh,
maybe it's different
right, right.
strokes for different folks.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris Watts did lose a bunch of weight. You saw him in the wedding
Mm-hmm.
pictures, and then it really quickly, for some reason, the empanada collar was his therapist, and then what did you say? His weight loss. She
His
was talking about
macro
his.
coach.
Yeah, his macro coach. She was talking about his macro and his
Everything.
micros. He lost like 15 pounds since they were together. So, I did hear a bit about the Thrive affecting him. Now, there's no excuse for any of what he did. I think all of the stressors combined happened, but I thought that Thrive, I didn't know about any of the other substances other than maybe marijuana or something.
If we were
So
doing the do 5 times a day, we would all lose weight in this chat. I mean, like, let's just
That's true,
be
girl. That is
real.
a good point.
True. Good, best cardio.
Yeah.
Who has time to eat?
Yeah. That's funny. Okay, so bringing it back to this, all good conversation. So we were talking about that we think that he was, under the influence of something in the sermon in the porch. Now, where take the conversation to the next point, Chris. This is your
It
show
was
now.
just no. I was just I was
No, I
going
want it to
back.
be. I want it to be. Like you keep like bringing up interesting topics. That's what I mean. So
Yeah,
what
no,
next?
I think that he was, I mean, vacant because he knew his family was gone, and he had a part of it, and unless he had been prescribed it, unless there was prescription for it, it was given to him by somebody. Is it the same somebody who gave, the oxycodone to him, who was given to Shanann? And so I do think that there's a part of this that like that drugs play a part of. And like I said, I'll never understand why he wasn't tested and why
I
he
know.
wasn't given a psych eval.
He wasn't tested when I'm sure it was so clear when you were looking at him. If you're a professional that has been trained and picking up indicators of somebody under the influence of drugs, I find it impossible to believe that it wasn't clear that he was on drugs.
And I don't believe if you truly have him hooked to a lie detector test,
Yeah.
if he's on benzos, you're gonna see it in that heart rate. You're gonna see it in that pulse rate, especially of somebody's who's fit. So I don't think it was
Remember,
unknown,
he doesn't
but
have a baseline for her, but still, I mean, I'm sure that was probably one of the pieces where they must have known.
And they didn't look into it or talk about it or anything. It was just case closed, right? They let him give his false confession. It was a confession, but Shanann did it, and it didn't change until later on when the investigators came to visit him in prison. So, I mean, a lot of things went wrong with that case, and a lot of things do bother me that they didn't look into or talk about it. Just case closed. I think they did a bad job all around.
And going on
Yeah.
what each of you has just said here, we've got Sandy, and I just pinned this. Sandy Kennedy says, why did Baumhover not talk much when he went with Tammy and Graham Coder to do that prison interview? She's asking, why did Baumhover not talk very much, but Coder and Tammy Lee did? What do you think, guys?
Because Baumhover knows a bullshit sandwich when he's eating one. That's
I
why.
think so too. That's going to be, you know what? I think I have to do this like formally, officially, like a scientific method. Like I've noticed anecdotally, I'm just like, this is what my brain is telling me when I think about that, the interview that I've listened to, like many of you, I don't know, 589 times. I think actually double that, a lot. When Graham Coder does speak, it's not, my opinion is, and I hope that there's more to it that I'm just too stupid to understand. I really do, but I'm not sure if that's the case or not. When Graham Coder, but Tammy Lee specifically, and I'm so sorry, Tammy, it's not nothing to do with you're a female. I like females. Look, my girls on panel, great. It's not that. Please don't call me sexist. But I just felt like she was shooting questions with strategy, without a plan, without a method behind it. It was almost like out of her own desperate curiosity, which I understand, but then stay home. I think Graham Coder's questions were more pointed and there was a strategy and a methodology behind it, but I think he too strayed. But I also understand that they were fucking shocked when they learned that one or two of those girls was alive on that ride to survey. And I think that through the questioning, I think you can hear that Graham Coder knew that Cece wasn't really alive on that ride. But I'm going to digress a little bit here. But when Dave Baumhover asks a question, it is specific. It has a point. It's very rare. He follows it through to completion of answer until Tammy Lee interjects and fucks it up or something. And I think that the question you're asking, Sandy, is a really important one.
Yeah, that great answer to that.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
Yeah.
That happens a lot when people don't pay attention to the questions they're going to ask before they go in and know what answer they want to get or how to ask a question to get that answer that they need. They just don't plan it well. And it sounds like they didn't plan it very well. And a lot of other factors. I hate when that happens because you get that one shot and they're just not thinking it through. And it was their own personal
Shame on them. Like they went through an unprecedented process. I know, and I'm sure you think this, but my God, nobody ever does that. Nobody ever follows up after a case and goes to prison, especially when you're on the same cheap travel dollar, apparently, of the community that won't spend an extra 2 cents to like investigate. Well, I'm gonna just call it quadruple homicide case. I mean, it's just so unexcusable, and I'm sure you agree, but I just can't. I'm being like Tammy Lee right now. I'm just so like emotional about it. I can't shut up.
Yeah, it was it was a lack of follow-up questions, but I will tell you where I kind of checked out of the Wisconsin interview is when he used the term Nutgate. That term was coined.
Tell me why.
Because that is an internet term. Nutgate was given by a YouTuber who talked about that incident. So for him to refer to it as Nutgate means that he had been fed information. There's no way the family didn't call it Nutgate when it happened.
He says that's what my parents called it. I think, but I'm not trying to. But go ahead.
He goes what it's called. He didn't say my parents. He said what it's called. What it's called by whom, Chris? Tiffer. Like where did you learn the term?
The True Crime Rocket Science came up with that name, right?
Yeah, it came. I know it came from a YouTuber.
It did. True Crime Rocket Science. I was talking about him earlier. Funny enough.
So for me, how much information has been fed to you, and how much of that information are you about to regurgitate to us? Just in that one word alone, let me know that he had been given enough information.
Well, let's think about this because you have a good point. You have a point here that other people have kind of brought up, and I just like didn't listen because they weren't Chris. But
I thought this was new shit. I'm getting off the panel now.
What's that?
I
Oh,
said, damn, I thought this was new. I'm getting off the panel.
oh no, I just mean here and there. They recently. Yeah, no, it is new. It's all you, girl. They know, like, people notice, like, well, because people, I think it was Honey Bunny was saying just recently, oh, I thought you made up that term, and I was like, oh my god, I should have explained that a long time ago. No, I didn't make that up. Like, it gives kind of a lot of insight into how monumental that event was, as you and I have well discussed, Chris. But so the interview was in February of 2019. So this is 3 months after he's convicted. It's 5 months after the tragedy happened. So I guess that was pretty early on to be saying Nutgate.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, he was in prison 72 hours later. And in solitary confinement, and his
Well, it wasn't
parents.
called Nutgate until well after the discovery was out and stuff, obviously,
right. And so for me, it muddied everything else. And to learn that somebody had sent him, and it's almost verbatim, a dream of what happened in that letter. I've seen the physical letter that somebody sent him,
Of
and
what?
that's what he recounts, a dream of what she believes happened. It was a psychic. And that's what he recounts. And for somebody whose coworker called them Rain Man, and he had a steel trap memory, I remember a video Shanann saying, like, I'm not book smart, but Chris can read something one time and have it down pat. Why can't you remember the details of how you unalived your whole family? Why are you stumbling and mumbling? They asked him a direct question of, did he take blankets? He did not answer, but later says, that's how you unalive them. Like, there were so many opportunities for them to, like, go in on him if you hear the questions back. And a Rain Man, these are things you would remember, honey. Like, the story he gave is not the story, period.
Well, it's missing a lot. I mean, it's missing a lot, and I think the title here, Chris Watts' Mistress, it's missing a whole bunch of that as well. And so there was a lot of not remembering, because he never brings her up or talks about her. I mean, he does sometimes later on in other things, right? Like the Watts letters, I think. But we're missing a whole bunch of information that he doesn't talk about that we know now motivated him. So he does remember. He just wants to keep those things out of it.
He says he wants one more conversation with her.
Yep.
He hopes she still has her dream job. But the thing that ended me is he said, she's on the outside. He doesn't refer to his mom as on the outside. He doesn't refer to his dad as on the outside. For me, maybe that's the New Jersey.
Like, as opposed to there's a possibility she could be on the inside.
100%,
There's no
Kelly.
my mom's gonna be on the inside because my mom ain't done nothing wrong here.
Right. He goes, at least she's on the outside. He says that in Wisconsin.
That's really perceptive. Wow.
It's when he said that, I was like, gosh, nobody uses that unless somebody had an alternative.
Right. They were put on trial, but they were acquitted, so they're on the outside. Yeah. Wow. That's wow.
Who says that?
Do you think he'll ever change his story? Let's say 15 years down the road, 20 years.
I know when she thinks he's going to change his story. Can I tell her? No, you tell her. This is really smart too.
Tell me, please.
We came up in chat earlier, and then Kelly, I'm going to give you your whole show back.
No, I don't want it back. You're doing great.
I think
you guys are doing great.
I think Chris has one authentic tie in his life.
Wait, let's let Jake guess who that is. Who's Chris? Is the only person Chris really truly loves?
Oh, Jake. Himself.
Well, okay, that's a good answer. Okay,
if his dad.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding,
his
ding.
dad.
Ding, ding, ding. It's his dad.
It's his dad. Yeah.
Whatever. You have to remember, she Googled Ronnie Watts after the dinner. That mysterious letter appeared with, if something happens to me. His dad said, oh my goodness, son, when he learned his grandchildren were no longer on this side of heaven. So there's something.
God Almighty, son. God Almighty.
God Almighty.
I'll never forget that one.
My mom's going to say a lot of stuff that will all have to be bleeped out. It won't be God Almighty if her two grandchildren are no longer here. I think that Chris does love his father, and I do believe his silence at this point is in protection of him. I actually don't think it's in protection of NK. And I think the only time we will ever hear a version of the truth is when his dad has passed.
Passed.
And that
Dang.
and there's a
Interesting.
danger or a fear of his life. And I do believe there's a part of him that can't feel love, but there is a tethering between the
Yes,
two of
yes,
them.
yeah.
Right, right.
So
Did
if
you
we don't
Chris
call
was
it
saying
love,
an inkling.
yeah, yep. And
did you see
so
the jail calls? The face-to-face, the prison calls where his dad comes in, his mom, and they're just like, it's all love. We love you, son. You're the best. You look so good. I like your that was disgusting, by the way. Anyway, that's why I guessed
His
his
sister
dad.
was
Not
good
only
though,
that,
because his sister came in and talked about football, and she talked about things. She just didn't blow smoke up his ass. She related to him
right.
really well. Yeah.
yeah,
But
well,
that,
allegedly, Cindy says they were told they could not talk about anything else. I don't
I
know if
believe
that's true
that.
or not, but I do think if he's ever capable of telling the truth, I mean, he's inside. I think
it'll be after
there
the
might
dad.
be external factors. I think it's protection of the dad,
Yeah.
and I think that will be the only chance where we might hear
So
anything.
maybe one day he'll change his mind and NK will come back up. He'll see her married or something. Dad passes away and he says, you know what? I got to come clean. He has changed his story a couple of times. So
I
that's a
tell
good
you,
call.
if you don't birth the kids if you don't love the kids you birth, you don't give a damn about a woman you've been with for 60 days. So whatever he feels for NK,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
it's not love. I don't know if it's an emotion he's truly capable of, but whatever he has with his dad, I think it is as real as it gets for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't think of it from that perspective. It's not that I thought he loved her and I just think he wanted it case closed, didn't want to deal with all the trial and bringing it back up. And
Mm-hmm.
there was no direct anything that
Mm-hmm.
he could prove. So he did it. He took it. But I just wonder one day if he's going to come back and say something. So that's interesting. It might be when his dad passes, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. AR,
Mm,
there's a good comment that you pinned, Kelly. Says he was
That's
clearly
a good theory.
trying to hint at Nicole
Oh
being
yeah.
involved.
I was. Yeah. I want. You know what? I think so too. And I wish. Ar, what exactly makes you think that? And then, would you guys like to listen to a little bit of his you know what? I just realized when
Yeah.
they brought up the title, I'm like, great. I didn't talk about the unthinkable ultimatum this whole time. Yeah, I'll change that
Right.
later. We just
Yeah.
sometimes things just naturally go in a different direction, but this is all important to it anyway. But would you like to listen to
Yeah.
a little bit of the February 2019 interview where he's talking about
Yeah.
NK? Because I
And
just queued that up.
when they bring in all the
Absolutely.
we's, he says we
Yeah.
several times, forgive them for they know not
Yep.
what they do. Like he
Yeah.
uses plurals quite a bit.
There's
So
a lot of subliminal hints, and I think
mhm.
there's also some I felt in that interview, it kind of what AR is saying, there was almost I'll use a Chris Watts word now, inkling of conscious hinting. I think he definitely wasn't ready at that time. I wonder if they could have an interview that was this open now, how that would turn out. I know that they can't, I know it won't happen, but damn, I want to talk to Chris Watts.
Yeah.
I know everybody
Yeah.
does. That's
Oh,
the first
yeah.
time.
There's
That's
a
the first
ask
time I
to
literally
drop.
ever had that thought. I normally don't want to talk to him. I know enough about him, but I wish I could talk to him now. Okay.
There's a ask too before you start this clip to put in the link.
Oh, sure, of course. Hi, Kurt Stacy. By the way, how are you doing, honey? How you feeling today? Our long lost Kurt is back. Woo woo. All right. Oh, yeah. You want to come up, Kurt? Kurt, come on up. Come on up. We want to make sure you're doing okay, Kurt. We need to see you. Come on up here, Kurt.
Yeah. I remember him from my scared to talk days.
Yeah. Were you weren't here when did you see the last
No,
live
I've
stream when he
seen
came
Kurt.
up?
I've been on your channel for years, Kelly. I was scared to talk.
Aw. Well, then you know that Kurt is a What's the Obsession live stream panel legend, and we all
Yes.
love Kurt. And
Yes,
then
I
he just
remember his backwards baseball cap. I
yes,
was like,
yes,
what beach did
yes.
he just come from? I want to know.
And then all of a sudden he was gone, and then so he finally return last time, and I'm sure, well, he told everybody, so I'm sure he won't mind saying it. I hope, if it's okay with you, Kurt, stop me now. But I know that you have so much love on this channel. Just be more people sending you good wishes. He was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. No, he's okay now, though. He's gone through the treatment.
Good.
But in January of 2023, so we had to go deal with that.
Damn.
So we
Come
just
back,
all love
Kurt.
Kurt so much, and we're never going to let him get sick or anything bad again because he's precious.
Yeah.
So that's where Kurt went to. So now we have to check up on him. How do we go on panel? This is fun. This is not Kurt. You know what? I've been thinking that the whole time too. I need moderators to go through. I need, is this Kurt? Kurt, is that you? I need to see you. I know, I really do. I've seen a bunch of comments. There he is. That is Kurt. Okay. Kurt, it is you.
We can't.
Your comments have
There
been a
he
little
is.
bit weird. Have you, how long have you been here for, Kurt? Oh, we can't hear you though, honey.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt, speak.
What?
You're scaring me. Okay, there you go. All right.
Can you
I
hear me?
thought for a while I thought for a while when you were in chat that it wasn't really you because it just didn't sound like you. But then I saw that I kept
Wait a minute.
skipping back up in the
Something's wrong.
comments. So I was reading your comments again and again, but now I know it's really you. How are you doing, honey?
Hold on.
Okay.
There we go. I turned it off. Yeah.
Oh, nice. How are you doing, sweetheart?
I'm doing great. How are all you men bashers doing? No, I'm just
We're good. Kurt, this is Jay. I don't know if you've met Jay
I'm
yet.
kidding.
This is Kurt. Jay has
Hi.
a channel called Guilty of Crime.
Hello.
Kurt
Hi.
is phenomenal.
Hello.
nice to meet you.
Nice. I'm glad you're better. It's a good happy ending for right now. No ending. It's happy good blessings to you.
Thank you. Yes.
And you're looking better than ever. And then the other
Thanks.
person on panel is Chris, who has been with our channel forever. And she used to watch when you used to come up on panel, but she says she was scared. But I'm so glad she's not anymore because she's funny and she's brilliant and she's awesome. So Chris.
Hi, Chris. Chris
Hi,
with C-R-Y-S.
I love men.
Do what?
I love men. There's no man bashing here.
I'm kidding. I was just kidding.
I know. I didn't even acknowledge that one. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
And
I
men
ignored
with
that
a
one, too.
southern accent.
know.
Come on.
How are you men bashers doing tonight?
A man with a southern
Nope.
accent. You got my heart, Kurt. Come on.
I am totally messing with you all. Thank you for having me up, and I'm hearing what you're saying about Chris, and everything you're saying is right on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've said some interesting things about Chris over time. What do you think happened with him? What do you think he's hiding now? What do you think are the motivations for him hiding it?
Wait a minute.
Oh, are you there?
What happened here?
I don't know. Chris dropped down, I think accidentally. But you're still there, right? Jay and
You're
Chris?
still there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the question?
Okay, very good. So what do you think Chris is hiding and why do you think he's hiding it?
Well, I just got on here and I was trying to follow along with the conversations and everything.
Good luck with that.
And what do you all think he's hiding? I'm not sure what.
Okay, so give us since we finally have a man on panel, as a male, perhaps a different perspective than us ladylike ladies.
Yes.
What do you think of Chris Watts? Just tell us about Chris Watts from your perspective. Anything.
Oh, me personally, what I think about him?
Sure.
I think this was a person. Oh, there she goes, right there. All right. I think that he was somebody that was really troubled inside. I think he probably had been for his whole life. I mean, you don't do that to your family.
Yeah.
I think it might have been something that might have been building up in him his whole life under pressure. There's, all we hear from Cindy Watts is how much of a good person he was. He never had problems when he was a teenager. Was the best, kid that they could ever have.
She said he didn't even rebel.
Do what?
She said he didn't even rebel.
Yeah, I mean, what teenager doesn't? That's kind of strange. But I think he was somebody that was so introverted and held things in. And when he got into a situation with somebody that was so extroverted and in control and put more and more demands on him and more and more demands on him and more and more demands on him, that he just, broke and did something crazy. Doesn't excuse the action, but I mean, he obviously has some mental problems. I mean, you just don't do that. It doesn't. It's like what we were talking about before, like the last live, where you can be under pressure with a lot of stressors, but if you really love your wife and your kids, you're not going to do that.
Yeah,
you're going to try to figure out a way. You're going to try to figure out a way to work it out,
or get a divorce,
or walk out.
Yeah. You
or
get
do
a
anything
divorce
other than kill them.
Right. I mean, seriously. I mean, and even if he was involved, I mean, there are a lot of people that get involved in extramarital affairs, and it sucks and it's terrible, but it's the truth, and that's what happens in real life. But I mean, you don't something was not right where you think, oh, well, maybe if I just like eliminate my family, I can go off and have this wonderful relationship with this woman. I mean, that's something's not connected right there.
Now, and I guess one of the questions there is it like, did he have an abrupt, psychological like break from reality that we know, has certain, that we can make certain cause and effect correlations with based on all the studies that we've done in psychology? Or is this something that he was really predisposed to, is a latent underwriting aspect of his personality all along, or both? Chris, why don't you take that one?
One thing I will say that it makes me cringe to hear. I do believe he was on the spectrum. Do not tie that to this crime. I am a mother of a son that's on the spectrum. I believe that because I am trained in this space, I can say I can believe that Bella might have been on the spectrum.
I believe the same.
That does not a killer make. I think that there's some unique stories from his childhood. His mother talks about how she went into the bathroom at church and he was repenting over and over again. I think the fact, here's the thing, if you got one grenade, and I'm saying that meaning you got a woman that you can't do anything with, you went and got another one, because if you couldn't handle SW, you would have been way over your head with the empanada. Like, if you had a do-over, you did it the same way again. So clearly there's
absolutely
something in you looking for leadership and looking for how to be a person, and I hate
and looking for form. I feel like these women gave him his form. He had like
good answer.
Honest to God, I think he's probably thriving in prison as best.
Thriving,
no pun intended. He knows what time he's got to wake up. He knows what his job is. He knows what. That's kind of what it seems
he needed
like
that.
He operates under, but
he's one of the only. He is such a rare personality structure that actually, I feel like we've talked about this before. Maybe I'm in deja vu. That could actually literally be on like all accounts doing well in prison.
I think that I know what's coming at all times, and I don't think he knew what was coming with the women he chose.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Was coming with his mom either. And so he might, it's all men. I'm good. Bring me my food. It's what, 6, 12, and 6. I got my job. I'm good to go.
Yep. That's really what he wanted. He was content taking orders. He really he
Right.
he looked for that. He needed that, I dare say.
Yep. But I just hate when it's connected to autism. So I just needed to
Oh
put
yeah,
it
no,
Yeah.
I
out there.
agree. Yeah. I talked about believing that he was on the spectrum for a while, and then I started backing off of it because even like when like what you just said was perfect, but a lot of times even when saying that, people just can't freaking handle it. I know that we have more adults in the room than we used to. A lot of the kids have decided they're gonna go, stick like chewing gum under a desk and play in the playground and leave us alone. But it used to be really, really hard to even bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an and. He was on the
Yeah.
spectrum and
Right.
someone else
Right.
was wrong,
Right.
It's an and.
Well, it
Yeah.
sounds like a combination of a ticking time bomb. I mean, he did have his mom and Shanann, right? They
Yeah.
were at war with each other, and then he was at war with Shanann, and then he had the empanada over there giving him an ultimatum. This is my perspective of all the things coming at him, and we do know that he did explode because there's nothing in his past that
Right,
led up
right.
to that. He didn't have a history. He didn't do, he was the perfect child, but he was also he was a passive aggressive guy, period. As a person, you can see the passive aggressiveness.
I think he was usually just not even passive aggressive.
Maybe.
It was straight up you're passive, which is just more to your
Maybe.
point, really. That
Maybe. Okay.
I think he started to get his zingers in at the end.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Right. And then you bring in the other aspect of that when he was.
Sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
The other aspect of that is when you bring this in and he started working out really hard and was losing all that weight and started feeling really good about himself and was on all that, the patches and all those things. And you all were discussing about how that felt, Kelly, when you were on that, and it made you feel like overly
stimulated,
hyper, right?
Yeah. Heartbeat fast.
And he lost all that weight, and then he probably started getting all this attention. And when you bring that into it, where he's getting attention from another female, talking about how good he looks and all this stuff, when you're passive or passive aggressive, and you start getting positive attention from people, if you've already got some kind of a mental illness and you put that on top of it, I mean, who knows what that does with the whole formula that came up to what happened. I mean, it was so many different variables and factors involved with this whole thing.
Absolutely. Well said.
Because I just found it very fascinating that his thesis that he did, I think everybody's probably seen that video where he talked about relationships.
Yep. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Bless his heart.
And about, relationships being, how relationships are supposed to, I forget the whole, I mean, I saw the video about it, and he didn't do a really
keep a relationship together. Maybe if you have a child, it'll keep your relationship
if shit gets rough, have a kid, it'll fix it. That was
right. And he didn't do a very good job presenting it, but I mean, it was just kind of bizarre. There's so many variables into this, and I think it was a train wreck from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, with that speech, what's interesting about that? The class that he did a presentation for was specifically it was like a public speaking or getting information in the public speaking part of it was class. I can't remember the exact name of it. So why did he choose that specific topic? I wonder. I've never really known the answer to that. It's kind of interesting.
Right.
I mean, I don't think about too much.
He was in his first real relationship that was months in at that point. So I'm not taking any pointers from you, sir.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like he was trying to explain how to make a relationship work, what you need to do in it, and so forth, which he took none of his own advice. And I think why I did say passive aggressive, I'm starting to think about his personality on the outside, and then when you think about the stuff on the inside, when he's listening
That's true.
to
no, you're right. You're right. I was wrong in saying that.
I don't think there's a right or wrong, but he listened to metal, and I didn't expect him to have the tattoos he had, and then that behind the scenes, that wild kind of sex that he liked, that different. It was just his personality didn't match.
Incongruent personality, yeah.
Yeah, very. So I feel like he had that meekness, but really he was also very on the inside. It was we didn't see it until later.
It was almost kind of like a double life that he was.
Yeah. Well, he definitely was living a double life, that too, but at one point.
Yeah.
Although I did hear other things, and I don't know if they were true. The lady that said she met him on Tinder and they went to the Chick-fil-A parking lot. Do we know if that was true?
I think I don't think it's been proven either way. I'm pretty sure it's not, but maybe it is. But yeah, she did say that. But I mean, I've been surprised before.
I'm just wondering if he had the other.
And she worked with NA, didn't she? She worked at her salon.
And that is true. She is true. I was able to verify that she did work with NAS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
NA has nothing to do with this case, by the way. Don't anybody grab onto that. Thank you.
100%. But when Trent came along, threw him away, and he talked to another YouTuber who said, I don't know why he said what he said in public, because when I talked to him in September before we had all this news, all the things checked out.
Oh, really? Wow.
He knew things that he should not have known. But then there's also a connection between him and NK, apparently.
It's
what's the girl? Charlotte. He's Charlotte's cousin, I believe, or something.
No, Danielle. He's connected to the girl Danielle, who is at Nicole Kessinger's house. Strangely, she was definitely there the Friday night before the murders. Then Chris and NK went to Lazy Dog on Saturday. Then later, but she says that she was with her the whole weekend. So that's really a very unknown element to Nicole Kessinger's, picture and what happened that weekend and who was around. And she definitely, well, as far as we know, she was not interviewed. And I have no additional information on that, unfortunately.
Certainly when you're Googling double penetration and all the things. So.
Well, yeah, but Dan, we need more than Danielle.
Well, Danielle might be Daniel. We don't know Danielle.
She might be, or she. Never mind. I can't say what I was going to say. Moving on.
You can say whatever. But we do know
that we're adults. We can't.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I was afraid this was
Jim. There's always Jim.
There's always Jim.
We know Jim can do the job.
We don't want to talk about.
I know. Yeah.
That was interesting. That was interesting too. Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, I didn't expect that from seeing Chris Watts from the start of it until the end, and the little bits that came out of the person that he was behind the scenes. So that is, I think he exploded. He was like a ticking time bomb, and the family annihilation, I think, is what gets us, is because he didn't stop. I can see there's a lot of people that unalive their spouses, but then when it goes to the next level, that's where we can't understand.
Yeah, I agree. And whatever your sexual preferences and things you want to try are,
YouTube doesn't want to know about it.
That's fine too. That doesn't make you anything except for the fact that you've been with one woman your whole life, and maybe these are things that you've always been curious about. And so I actually hate when that gets pulled into him being a family annihilator.
Yeah.
So I don't care if he was gay. I don't want if he wanted to try all, as long as no children and animals are involved, do you?
Leave animals alone. Yeah.
But
unless you're Stephen Stirs.
I don't like when those things get pulled in. But
sorry.
I didn't realize she was his first. Like, that's the only person he'd been with. So as you get older, you do have some curiosities. And I feel like some of those things in some ways have been kind of red herrings.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that NK was desperate to please him and desperate to be something new. I think that's the important part.
She's like, it's okay if you're not happy. We can open up new possibilities.
Yep. I think the important part is she was going to be everything that his wife wasn't. That's the important part.
That's most mistresses.
Chris, are you talking from experience here? Or?
Well, there were no animals, children's, or other men involved.
Stop
But,
it.
Animals were left
but yes,
alone.
I am happily divorced due to a bartender who could make a mean sidecar. Yes.
Nice. There you go.
And she
I'm
can
just
have
messing
him.
with you.
No, but it's the truth. I told my story on Kelly's my first time on panel, and why this is so real to me is we had not a similar dynamic, but maybe I don't know from his perspective because we can't have a conversation without a judge and $1,500 of legal fees.
Right.
However, I could see the same dynamic where there is a dominant one and there's the one, but I also now I can see through his eyes how it's like, girl, I'm sick of your shit, you know? So I understand that a little bit, but you also weren't able to lead this household. So I'm not going to follow you into nowhere. But I found out he was cheating on a Wednesday. 3 weeks
Block
into the
Wednesday.
pandemic, I put his ass out on Friday because that's who I am as a person. And as he was moving out, he got so angry at me, he lunged at me with both hands
Wow.
at my throat.
Which he had
And
never done anything like before, right? Never.
He had never said boo to me before.
Mm-hmm.
But and I saw, like, you hate me, and I didn't realize that, and that's why this case is connected to me the way it is. And I think what stopped him was the
wild.
fact that he knew my dad would be here at 8 minutes and end him. And I think that's the only. My dad is not on this
Thank
side
you,
of heaven,
Daddy.
and my dad's
Yeah.
not on this
Yeah.
side of heaven anymore. But I think he knew I can't even get to court on this one. I'm gonna be dead.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so, but to see that look in somebody's eyes and you realize for the first time, like, you hate me,
Wow.
hate
That's
me, hate
powerful.
me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. It's made me terrified to date, but it's also made me try to be, as I've dated, a different and a better person, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. And that's
Sure.
why I
Yeah.
connect with SW so much, and I will never be in an unequally yoked partnership like that again. And I will never,
Yeah.
it's nice to have somebody who does what you tell them to do until it's not. Because if they
Sure.
do what you tell them to do, they're going to do what somebody else tells them to do. And I'm sure the bartender knows tricks that I don't know because I was in getting my PhD and we weren't doing those tricks at my school. And that's okay.
Well, we all learn and we grow. Like, Kelly said, Shanann was 33, and had she been 43 or 53, right? I was a different person I'm going to be 45, and I was a different person 10 years
45.
ago.
I'm 45 years old. It's okay over here. We're the same age.
Whoop, whoop.
Yes. Yeah, so we grow and we learn. I'll be married 19 years in July. So
Holy cow.
Congratulations.
That's
yes,
forever.
I've gone through the trials and tribulations, and I made it through. So I do know the things it takes to get through. But that fascinates me. That's why this case fascinates me in the way that I know he could have either worked it out or he had just left. And I can't understand the kid portion of it because I could understand being angry at your spouse, but not your kids.
Right.
So
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
I'm looking at media. The
we all
creative
grow.
agency says, I think spouses hate each other from time to time.
Hey, yeah,
Happens, especially long
Yeah. Okay.
term.
Go ahead.
You
That
can
happens.
hate me, you can't cheat on me, and you damn sure can't lunge after my neck. Period.
Right.
Point blank. The
I mean,
end.
yeah. I mean, something like, I think I kind of understand what you're talking about. I think I'm not nearly that. I think I can relate. I think when you see something like what Chris you saw in your husband, that's like a whole different level. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Shanann saw that too, I'm sure, because when you
Yeah.
suffocate somebody, it takes us 3 to 5 minutes, right? And so
Yeah.
there had to be a look in his eyes that she saw, and he saw back.
Yeah.
So that's a good point what you said, and it's eerie.
He did it by himself, but that's a whole different.
Well, somebody
ballgame.
did.
Wait,
Yeah.
say that again. What did you just say, Chris?
I said if he did it by himself, but that's a different live stream.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way.
So well, you know what? A friend of mine who I actually haven't talked about this because it's just kind of I don't know. there wasn't really where to fit it in, and it's not something I want to bring up just for the sake of bringing it up. But it was actually when I was talking about, oh my God, it wasn't even about this case. I was talking to a friend of mine who is a physician who used to work in a medical or a coroner's office, rather it was. And we were talking about back in the Murdoch days of Stephen Smith, but somehow we got to this because we were just talking about my channel and how it was doing. And she's a friend of mine from way back. I'm talking about Dr. J, if any of you remember anyway. But she said, Chris said that he held on to her neck until the point where she evacuated herself. And my friend said, and I can't remember the exact time that she told me, but she told me that it takes longer than 10 minutes for that to happen. So I was like,
Interesting.
did he have his hands around her neck for longer than 10 minutes? And
Wow.
and if so, that really says something to something. Or did he just make that up? But I don't think he would have made that up. But does anyone have any thoughts on that?
No, I learned something new then.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one, but
that is, yeah. I mean, that's hatred to me. For any 3 to 5 or to 10 minutes, that's a real. That's not just a snapping moment there.
Right. And I almost, in my mind, I guess why I keep wondering about it is, and again, it's a kind of a grotesque detail, and it's and I don't want to be a disrespectful detail to talk about. That's why I'm not going to just bring this up on its own normally, but what you guys are talking about is making me think of it, because I feel like having your hands around someone's throat for 3 minutes versus 10 minutes is just a whole different thing. I don't know.
It is a whole different thing.
It is, but I also think it's important. One road I will not go down, but it's important to remember she was pregnant. And even at 15 weeks,
that's true. Good
pressing
point.
On your bladder, your rectum. And so
that's a good point.
It could have been a different
time frame
process
for
her.
Gotcha.
Right. Statistics are always all over the place depending on the person and the circumstances. So
yes.
At 15 weeks, your bladder is ginormous still. So it could have been, not just your uterus. So it could be pressing on either, but knowing that she did have a coffin birth, which is it's in her. It's in the autopsy.
I mean, it's part of it.
I can't reconcile the time it takes for that to happen from the time it took him to. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
He smothered the children as well, and that smothering that still takes time too. So I can't wrap my mind around any of that. I mean, I could relate to unaliving my spouse. Sorry, babe, but it's true, but not children and not smothering.
Right, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, but not the smothering. That takes time as well, and not your children. So that is where I'll never ever reconcile that portion of it.
Yeah,
and not see that NK didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and like I've always said too, what he's reported, I really question about, especially about the girls. I think when we see that last video of Shanann walking into the house after she got back from Arizona, I think she's walking into a death trap.
That's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think as manipulative as Chris was with this, with whatever was going on in his mind at the time, I question as to not whether the girls were already dead. He said they were still alive, and that could just be a lie because he lies about everything,
right?
Survey and all that. But like when they found the 2 trash bags and then the sheet that was around her, who puts trash? I mean, if you're wrapping up somebody in a sheet, why would you put trash bags on both sides? Why were there 2 trash bags?
Uh-huh. And these two kids
And
that cried every time their mother left the room, according to the R
yeah,
family, are they
Right.
really going to not go ape shit when their mom is in a trash bag?
right,
Like,
right.
Well, this is one reason we know Cece was not alive if any of
oh
that
no,
happened.
Cece would have
I
knocked on Nate's door.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Oh
Right.
don't
no,
think
no, no,
either of
no.
them are. I think the two trash. It sounds so horrible, and I hate saying this, and it's terrible to think about it. But
You think
I,
it was for the kids?
yes,
Yeah.
I don't.
and the sheet was for Shanann, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it all happened beforehand, and she walked into a death trap when she got home.
Mm-hmm.
She
See,
was the last victim,
I think the
and why?
trash bag
And
was for
as
him because he's a wuss.
right, and
Yeah,
as
he is a
crazy
coward
as
for sure.
and as crazy as his mind is, I mean, he could say just because he doesn't want to acknowledge that it was premeditated for him to kill his kids
Mm-hmm.
before his wife got home. I mean, as we're saying, because he wouldn't admit to that.
Mm-hmm.
But even if he did it, I mean, and then why would he tell them, I knew this was the last time I was going to be tucking my daughters in that night? I mean,
Yeah.
it just, he's a liar.
Well, with that, we
And,
know.
right. He, to make, because, and he's also a narcissist. So to make himself look better, like, oh, I didn't decide to do that until after all this happened with my wife. And then I decided to do this with the kids. That kind of makes them look maybe a little bit better, but I mean, not really. I mean,
Yeah. No. Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's just, it would make him look like even more of a monster if he had killed those kids before she even got home. And he doesn't want to look like more of a monster because he's a narcissist.
So Kurt and panel and chat, what do you think of he calls it the point of no return? Because a credit card swipe is not the point of, he said Sunday was the point of no return. This is pre
Right.
Shanann getting home. What could be the point of no return? It's not me
His mind
swiping
was
a,
made up. It was his mind that was made up. And why, right?
Mhm.
And he said
I, I
that. Yeah.
I think it's the kids were gone. That's just me. You don't come back
Oh,
from that. Like you can't return from
yeah.
that. But the point of
So,
no return,
Well,
that
Sunday, we know that Sunday they were alive, though.
I mean, but you remember
That
Shanann
night.
doesn't come home until the AM, almost 2 a.m.
No,
And
but he
so,
says the point of no return was on Saturday night.
oh, I thought it was Sunday. He
No,
says
Saturday
that.
night was a credit card swipe and lazy dog. Sunday, the girls
And
were at a party. There's photos and testimony.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know the girls were alive Sunday.
awesome.
I thought he referred to Sunday and wishing.
Yeah.
You know what? He said he wished he had gone to the game, but maybe the
Right.
plan was hatched and that was the point of no return. But I always thought he referred to it as Sunday. But thanks for that clarification, Kelly, because that always bothered me.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it is an interesting, thing to say. And I think, and Jay hinted at this a little before, and, Deception Detective in his videos recently, I think really summed up, and this is what the whole timeline that I recreated that I never even got to today. Everybody get over it. The title doesn't necessarily match, but it does. But it doesn't. So not
We're
you
having a
guys.
good time. We're talking it out. We're talking it out.
We're talking it out. We're talking it out. Thank you. That's what we're doing. We're doing the pre-work.
Yes.
So what Deception Decided, I think, really contributed to what the facts show when you look at the actual timeline, as opposed to the timeline discovery per law enforcement's differently motivated, other than justice narrative.
Right.
Is that it had been building up. It had been building up. It had been building up with all of these different things going on. It was just as you guys were talking, was absolutely listening, of course, but I was also looking at some things having to do with exactly when he deleted his Facebook account and how involved Kessinger was. And she was totally involved, but we'll go back to that because it's going to take me a while to explain, because I found out some crazy things about that. And then there's things that we already know that are crazy anyway. But I think that weekend, that Saturday, and then that Sunday, okay, so Shanann had been gone for the entire time of their relationship, according to them. And even if something was going on a little earlier, I think the time that they are talking about, the end of June until, the end, it was the hot and heavy of their relationship. So Shanann was gone that whole time.
Yep.
All of a sudden, she's back. They fly back in late on June 7th. Shanann is home on June 8th. She's home on June 9th. The morning of June 10th, I'm sorry. That's right.
August.
She leaves. I'm sorry, August. Thank you. August 10th. I knew something was wrong about that. Like early in the morning, like 4 a.m., she leaves to fly out for Arizona for the weekend. So in their entirety of their hot and heavy relationship, Shanann had been home for 2 days and the girls had been home for 2 days. Then plus the time when they were still there when Shanann had left. And Nicole Kessinger absolutely could not fucking handle that. She did not like how things were going. She has no patience. She's like, in her interview, when I handle conflict, I'm all like rational. Oh, she ain't anything but that girl. Let me tell you, she is none of those things. And this set her into, I mean, she was already triggered. She was already up there. She was already on the edge. She's already like tweaking all the time, personality wise. And this just sent her into orbit. She had already been around Mars and back by the time she even talked to Chris. And what she said to him laid it on so hot and heavy. And I absolutely do believe in those things that she said to him in this complete, like, psychotic, like, she's just so gross. It's making me like literally feel nauseous just thinking about her personality. But in whatever way she did, I certainly believe that within all of that she said, and I don't have to tell you, she said many words. She told him that he better get rid of his family in no uncertain terms.
Yep, I can agree with that. And you could hear it when she's talking to the detectives at one point on how irritated and how pissed. And then she calms herself back down. But she's telling them that. Oh, yeah, sorry. It makes me mad too.
I know.
Because I think, yeah, it is because I think that, when you just said the timeline and how hot and heavy it was the whole time, and she was only back 2 days or 3 days, you say 2 or 3, that makes a lot of sense. Why and when and like, yeah.
Wait, let me tell you exactly when they got it's a 7:30.
That's a good point.
I don't know why it's not in my head, but I think it's important here because it shows how truly fucking crazy she is. Like a matter of a day is a big deal when it comes to that. So so it's I'm just going through the Discovery timeline really quickly. I should be consulting my own, but it's actually in the cloud right now. I didn't even download it yet. Because of my computer problems yesterday and today.
And Kelly, while you're looking,
Uh-huh.
She says in her interview, it was SOP, standard operating procedure, for us to talk while Shanann was there.
Exactly.
So how do you develop a standard operating procedure in 48 hours? Or does this mean they were talking?
I think that's just bullshit. I don't think there's I'm sorry, I was anticipating your question. I really looked into the possibility of them, having a significant relationship before the end of June. Because I believed at first that they must have. At this point, I've been convinced for a long time that they didn't. That's not how it was. I think there may have been some flirting, some banter, maybe some little inappropriateness, but nothing like what.
So do you think they had any phone conversations? Because I fully believe he was sleeping in the basement before Shanann went to North Carolina. I fully believe that. So do you think that there were conversations that they were having then, or is she just?
I think they may have been communicating through an app. I don't think there were any.
Got it.
I don't. I'm just that I would have to look. I'd have to look into maybe, but I don't think so. That's all I can say about it, though. Really, I guess.
Okay. We could chalk that on. She's just crazy. That's a long list.
I know she is just crazy. Well, let me show you this little visual thing I have here. Let's see. Window. I love you, StreamYard. Thanks for working this long.
Right.
Oh my gosh, this is like one of the first Watts live streams where it didn't like mysteriously cut out on us. That's crazy. All right, so here, all right, can you guys see this? Okay, I'm gonna have to take down the appearance of panel being up for a minute just for the sake of making this bigger. But then they're there though. Don't worry, guys, they're there. Let me take this down. All right. So if you look at this, you see, okay, everything on the bottom half. These are things that do not appear in the Discovery timeline that are critical. So everything in the bottom half that's like a purple or red shade. So depending on how your mind works, I did both for you. You're welcome. Those are things that were not on the discovery timeline.
Yeah.
Everything on the top half that's in a green or a blue color, though, again, you're welcome. Those are things that were on the discovery timeline that are related to the topic of why I made. Well, they're just important things. So you'll see when I first calibrated this timeline, I calibrated incorrectly. So you cannot see August 7th. So the first thing you see there is Watts are home from North Carolina. And it has a little diagonal arrow. So there's evidence that I'm not a perfect person. So they got home on the 7th. So then they were home, the night of the 8th and the night of the 9th. And I'm sorry. I edited one. I didn't get the final version. Shanann leaves for Arizona should be shifted over to the 10th. So she leaves at like 4 a.m. on the 10th. So she was home for about 48 hours and that was it. And then on the 11th is when he got the babysitter. They went to the Lazy Dog. She got home from Lazy Dog. She, within 2 minutes of him leaving, searched Chris Watts, Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts, and 2825 Saratoga Trail. That also is the night where Nicole even admits, which I can't believe, that, oh yeah, we had all these plans for Chris to get a apartment, and it was really weird because like when we're talking about like that night, he wasn't really interested in like anymore. And I can't even believe she admitted that, but Chris also echoes that same sentiment. Mm-hmm. So I think in her mind, the load of Mexican food he was shoving up her ass was like, she was like thinking it was real, like she was making plans on it, and but for him it was just lip service, but she doesn't connect that way to reality. And so, when she's like, all right, well, let's go. Yeah, so your family's home. That sucks. Obviously, that ain't happening. So this week we're gonna like get the apartment. And he's like, what? So I think when he started to back off of being what she perceived as gung-ho about getting an apartment, but I don't think he ever was, because he really wasn't. We know that. He didn't have the money, and he's chicken shit. He was never going to be able to just, tell Shanann he was leaving, get an apartment. That was all fake for him. So, and then he's realizing like, oh my God, she thinks I'm going to really do this. He starts reacting in a way that she's not used to, which feels like backing away from her. Because guess what? I think he was finally backing away from her. He's like, wait a minute. Bitch be crazy. Oh my God. It's everywhere. And she felt that. And he was backing away from her. So then by the time Sunday came around, the 12th, that day where Nicole Kessinger appears not one time on the official Discovery timeline, even though that's the day of the 111-minute phone conversation and other things, shit really went down that day. And there's plenty we're going to talk about having to do with that, but I'm going to summarize it right now is shit went down.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a mix of bitch be crazy and this bitch be nice. Like, I think it was the balance of,
Shanann was opening up to him and stuff.
Love letters, and I think NA cut the grass, and her recognize, like, it was like, wait, what's happening here? Like, what in the Jedi mind trick is this?
I think Shanann really was. I think for like really the first time that we saw evidence of this, since we knew her, so-called, unsocalled, through her Facebook posts and stuff, in the known history that we know of Shanann as an adult married to Chris, I feel like she really was on the cusp of a genuine, in her heart, in her soul, change when she realized that she was going to lose something that she was never really that grateful for, which was her marriage.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It was too little too late, but I think the two together really screwed him, like in the head.
Yeah, absolutely. Good point.
Now, do you think that she did say to him, you're never going to see your kid? Do you think that conversation ever even happened? Did they?
No, because I don't think he ever told her he was leaving.
Yeah,
told her
I don't either. Yeah,
that's my point. Yeah, he's a coward.
Could have said you're never going to see your kids again. I think there could have been a conversation where Shanann was really pushing him because she knew, and we know that she knew that he was having an affair at that point. And I'm sure it's understandable why her world was shattered. It's understandable. I don't know if she could have just, even as tired as she was, I don't know if she just could have come in the house, gone to bed without dying first, and have held that in.
Right.
My guess is she has said that to him 15 times before. And I'm saying that because I think the way that Kelly thinks she knows CW, I think I know
Yeah.
SW. And I
Yeah,
think
no,
she
that's
had
probably
said
true.
that more than once.
Good point. That's a good point. And probably when she did say that, it probably made him feel like a sort of anger that is the closest thing that he can relate to what ultimately he felt when this happened. So maybe that's why that came to mind for him. I don't
Yeah.
know. Now I'm just
Yeah.
putting puzzle pieces together, but I don't. Yeah.
I just think I feel more rage untangling my garden hose than he's felt in his whole life. I don't think
Yeah.
he
No,
knows
I
what
think so
rage is.
too. Yeah. Oh, forget it. Or trying to find the right charger for the right device. I know.
100% rage.
Oh,
Much
yes.
more than Chris.
Well, that's a good timeline there. That puts a lot of things in perspective for me as I'm digging into this.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
let's actually, since you mentioned it, let's just look at the things that are on this. And then if you guys have anything to say to wrap up, I would love for you to do that. And I'm so grateful, you guys. But we're on 3 hours now and
Yeah.
I'm tired and I'm so grateful and I'm taking up so much of your time. But this is awesome. But let me just read through this really quick. And this is where we will pick up next time. And I will present my will present the actual and factual timeline of events. And I'm sorry that nobody's done that for you guys yet, but I finally took it upon myself. No, thank you, Weld County, anything except for Dave Baumhover. We love you, and please come back and do the right thing, Dave. Do the right thing. Okay, so we have so the Watts came home from North Carolina on the 7th. Again, Shanann leaves for Arizona, needs to be moved over a little bit. Oh no, wait, this is I don't know. I confused myself. I don't know. But anyway, Shanann left the early morning hours of the 10th, so she was home for a total of 48 hours. And then the 11th, I mean, things happened, but this was really like the revving up of what was to come. They went to the dinner on the 11th. I'm sorry, I said 2 minutes earlier, but it's actually 4 minutes after Chris left Kessinger's house. She Google searches Shanann Watts, Ronnie Watts, Chris Watts, and 2025 Saratoga Trail. She wanted to know if that house was up for sale. That's what's up with that. And then it was, let's see. So at that point, then we go into Sunday. We have Shanann's deleted Facebook posts that were just like, hey, I can't wait to go home and see my girls. I felt the baby kick. That happened at 3 at 5 o'clock on Sunday. I think there's evidence. Well, I'm going to show you there's evidence that Nicole Kessinger saw those. I think that's why they've been scrubbed. Those are nowhere to be found. Nicole Kessinger tells Chris Watts about first. Kelly, what are you talking about there, girl? I don't even know what I'm referring to there. I don't even know what I'm referring to there.
Is that when she said she wanted to have a first with him?
But that wasn't
that was back in July.
Yeah, that definitely didn't happen then. I know that. So I just I don't know what. Anyway, there's more evidence that I'm not perfect. I'm sorry for all those of you who are disappointed right now. So then there's
Kelly, I'm out of here.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wasn't lying. I just didn't want anyone to know. Then there's a 111-minute phone conversation. 7 hours after that ended, a little bit less. There is her ping. And between those 7 hours, when the phone conversation ended and the ping, Bella, Shanann, Celeste, and all the three of those plus the baby either lost their lives or they are, on their way to be shipped to where they're going to lose their lives in about an hour and be disrespectfully discarded like trash. I mean, come on. This is just and she's not involved, seriously.
Yeah.
And you know what, Kelly,
that's just a small part.
I think a big data point is that Shanann's cell phone connects with the router at 1:48.
Yeah.
And an iPhone tells you when you walk upstairs, downstairs, it logs no other physical activity after that.
It doesn't.
Which leads to, I think somebody on the panel talked about the ambush theory and some people in the chat.
It doesn't clock steps, flights, nothing. Yeah.
Nothing after 1:48.
Yes.
No, well, actually it does. It does. But that one, I don't think Shanann was alive at the time, but I don't want to put something in it.
Chris's stuff goes bananas though, starting at 4 o'clock. He's done a whole damn marathon.
I know.
Right.
I know. 0.7 miles walking around his own house at 4:30 a.m. in like 10 minutes or something like that. It's crazy.
He was getting his chicken.
Yeah. I know he's making his lunch. He's packing his lunch. Not sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that puts a lot in perspective, definitely. And the days, there was just boom, boom. She came home a couple days in. I mean, yeah, I think showing this and seeing we'll just call her the empanada, right?
Yeah.
We'll call her the empanada, and the things that she said, and you can tell she was getting more on the edge, which was pushing him to the edge. And point of no return, whether she was there or not, or whether she was involved and not, I don't know. If I think if she was part of an ambush, I think one day we might find out by Chris, just because he's one of those kind of guys that wouldn't hold a secret forever. Maybe after the dad, but good perspective. Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah. I wish that I don't know whether they did this or not. It just seemed like the investigation into this was not nearly as detailed as the Murdaugh case.
No.
And I wish there would have been like a special agent Rudofsky that could have totally took everybody's pings and all that where they were at whatever time. And documented even like we were saying, Chris's walking around for however many steps he took in a certain amount of times, and if that had started shortly after she walked in the door.
Well, it
whatever.
started at 4:30, but no, the level of report you're talking about would have much more detail. Yeah, that was great work.
Yes, and they didn't do that. They just
they didn't want to do that. They could have, and it was just case closed. I think it was bad detective work. And once he confessed, they didn't want to put resources on. They could have done that, but they didn't.
Right, and that's.
I still think there's more to it even than that, though, because before the official plea, before the sentencing, there are different branches, different organizations from different jurisdictions shutting down investigative avenues and tools and methods in this case that would be accepted and questioned ever if they were refuted in any other murder case ever.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder why.
CBI specifically, they don't give a damn about Will County.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. I know, it's crazy.
And hence, that's the reason why we're here discussing this.
Still, just 20 years later.
So we all gather here today.
That's why there's so many open-ended things. I mean, there was no. It was just a case where they were like, let's get to the bottom of this right now and call it a day.
But guess what? Yeah. We don't accept that. And I don't accept that. And it's not going to stay open forever because I ain't going to leave this earth until it's closed. That's just not happening. So we're just going to have to keep plugging away.
There you go.
Let's go.
I don't know if you were on, but we talked about what would it take to reopen this case and do we think a new day would matter or what circumstances could reopen it? Because if she signed a plea deal, none of it matters if she lied to them.
As soon as they can prove she lied, any agreement she had with them is null and void 100% across the board.
Yep.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, I'm going to say goodnight to everybody because this was awesome. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Jay. Everybody go check out Jay's channel.
You.
Guilty of Crime. She's wonderful, guys. Isn't she sunshiny? Don't you want to be her friend too? Because she's my new friend. Welcome. She's my new friend too. She wasn't already.
I subbed.
And Chris, we
you.
love Chris. Chris is so smart and so funny, and I just love her. And Kurt, Kurt is just a sweetheart. We love you, Kurt. I'm so glad you came up again.
Good to see you.
I love you all too.
And he is the male representation of opinion on this channel.
And a good one at that. And a blessed man.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
With a good Southern accent.
With a good Southern accent. And so many ladies that come to this channel have a big crush on Kurt.
I am single and I do mingle. So, I mean.
There you go. Drop his email in there.
So
Kurt, I'm single and I'm bossy.
Y'all better watch out because I'm like Kurt's mom on this one. So if you try to mingle with Kurt and things go wrong, I'm coming after you.
Oh, we don't want that.
No, you don't.
I'm from New
I love
Jersey.
y'all.
I'm
Y'all
not scared, Kelly.
What's that?
I'm from New Jersey. I'm not scared.
I know you're not. That's,
That's
why
right. New Jersey. New Jersey.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, I love you so
All right.
much. And there is more to come. Everyone go check out the Idaho 4 case I uploaded earlier today. Haven't done one in a
Yes.
while. I have a big Idaho 4 video coming out in the next week or two. It is currently under legal review, or I would have uploaded it. The only reason it won't be uploaded in that time frame is because I have to edit something big and have to go back and it's a biggie. So, but we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. And I'm so glad you guys were here. Moderators, I love you so much. I'm sorry I brought up difficult conversations for people to discuss. You're amazing. I can't even thank you enough. And Ara,
Have a
thank you for
good night.
gifting 5 memberships. And to all the subscribers, members, viewers, trolls, bye. This isn't you. Bye. Go now. Bye. People looming in the rafters. You're okay. You can stay. Just don't become a troll. Drop down. Talk to us. We want to know you're here.
On that note,
yes. All right. Bye,
Yes.
Jay. Love you so much. I will be stopping by your channel, and we are so glad you are here. You are a new friend of the channel, and I'm sure you're
Thank
going to
you.
get hopefully lots of love from people because I only heard wonderful things about you so far. And I'm sure I will only
Good.
continue to hear wonderful things about you. That's not what I meant. I'm tired. I got to stop talking now.
you're good. Have a great night, and thank you for having me
too.
here.
Thank you so much for being on. Thank you.
Me too, Kelly.
night,
Thank
y'all.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, Kurt. Bye, Chris. All right.
Bye.
I'll talk to you guys soon. You're the best.
Good night.
Best channel community ever. You guys are awesome. Let me just come back to comments. Just make sure, I don't know, just pin a couple things. And yeah. Great point, J. Laura. Difficult conversation should not be avoided. Nope. Yes, totally touche, my friend. Ara is going live. If you guys want to drop the link to Ara's channel in the chat, Ara is going live. Honey Bunny, are you still here? I owe you half an hour. Well, I want to give you half an hour too. Party is at Ara's. I'm gonna try to stop by. Catch Chick, thank you so much. I'm so glad you're with us, Catch Chick. You're awesome. And Jody is cool, of course. Oh my gosh, all you wonderful people. Mick J is amazing. She's done so much. I really appreciate it. Hey, Giovanni's Pikachu, how are you? Good point. Cynthia says, why would someone need immunity if they're innocent? Witnesses are witnesses. Immunity means they won't charge you on anything in regards to the case. What would she need it for? Probably a lot of things is my answer, but that is a great question. And I love the specific answers from law enforcement. Michael J. Rourke, if you're listening, and I know you are, I'm just kidding. I know he's not. I don't like you. You've done wrong, and I'm going to keep talking about it. Wrongdoer. Loco Jazz Hand says, thank you, panel and chat, and happy Mother's Day to everyone. I need a chiropractor after this chat now. Sorry about that. Sorry, I just got a text message from Ara. You're good, girl. Very good. I got you on all counts, Ara. Nice. Okay. Yes, and everybody go over to Ara's for the after party. I think. Oh, I gotcha. That makes sense, Ara. And you know, of course, I respect that too. All right. Oops. Oh my God, such great chat. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back through and read this. SM says great conversation. Good night to y'all. Yeah, wasn't the panel great? Marissa answered Chris's question about stop the clock and said, if Chris Watts stopped the clock with his confession on 8/16, I'd like to put the word confession in air quotes too, please. What was the purpose for NK at the station turning over her phone on 8/23 and handwritten addendum notes she submitted in September? Oh my God, no doubt. Well, I'll tell you, the 8 pages of notes was her cover my ass doctrine, and that was to try to sweep away everything that she was completely guilty about because she had reason to feel guilty about. No, I know. I get your question. Good question, too. So, all right, guys, I am going to peace out. Everybody head over to Ara's. Hopefully there's a link somewhere there down in chat. If not, her channel is just her name. Oh, yes. And And I do have a Facebook group. It has not been too active. Some of you are members though, but McJay's been helping me out. We're going to make it more active. So go check it out. And there's the link. Thank you, McJay. Oh, and here is the link to Ara's. Awesome. All right, guys, seriously, unless it's really hot outside and you need your windows open right now for ventilation, just, consider pros and cons here. Please lock your windows and your doors. And remember that life is hard. So be nice to each other and especially be good to yourself because you deserve it. And hey, happy Mother's Day, moms. You rock. Talk to you soon.